Hi, Cam Research. Welcome back. That's how I'm going to sound once I'm an AI robot someday. Welcome back to the program. Thank you for joining us. Drop a like on the stream. Drop likes on the stream. The last stream was cooked. I wonder if me putting Hawk to a girl in the putting Hawk to a girl in the title probably ruined the stream. It probably broke it. Tonight's usually a low, like what is it, Thursday? Thursdays are usually really low viewership in general. But yeah, it seems like that last stream was just kind of broken.
Let's.
Beautiful. All right, I need a new title though. Here, this is an interesting one. Who is more? I don't know. My polls usually need to make Trump supporters mad, but who is more aggressive? Every poll needs to have Hunter Biden as an option. Basically. How's everyone feeling lately? How's life going for everyone? How is it? We're likely gonna hit 10,000 subscribers during this program. I only need 6 more, so yippee. Yippee. You're good? That's good. Any movement on left media? Are there any coalitions I can join that get paid for producing left media content? I wish I could get paid money. Dude, I would do this full time if I could. I might start doing it a lot. Like all the time. It was freezing in my apartment all day, like 20 degrees out, and it finally just got warm. Finally just got warm in here, but I feel like I'm not warm enough. What? How about what's better, kettle corn or popcorn? Kettle corn or butter? Whatever. You know what I mean. Raceland, if someone doesn't pick Bernie Sanders on this poll, they're excommunicated. Wait, you're totally wrong. You're wrong about that. If someone doesn't choose Hunter Biden on this poll, they're excommunicated. The obvious answer is Hunter Biden. Your window is wide. Why is your window wide open? Do you like it? Do you like the Arctic? It's a little too cold for me. I should probably put an update in here. Live watching Bernie and Jon Stewart. At everyone. I mean, sure. How do you do this every day? I'm neurotic. I have many mental health disorders. The channel's also growing a decent amount, so pretty good. My last video I put up with Crystal and Jank. I don't know if that's gonna do good because it's a really long video, and I feel like people don't watch my videos if they're too long. But I thought I might as well post it. Yeah, it's not doing very good view-wise. Only 44 views in 2 hours is pretty low. That's okay though. Not like it matters. People were asking to see it from my stream yesterday, and I explained to them that I'm saving my stream VODs for those who have channel memberships. That's one of the perks of being a channel member. I get all the stream VODs. Trump won cope. Can we have Trump supporters who aren't like... I know it's hard to find them, But I can't think of one Trump supporter I've spoken to who's like like mature. Like someone who actively supports Trump though, not like Graceland, not a Trump voter, but one person who's like full MAGA. I have not met one that can have a full conversation without just like sounding like a toddler. Barry, you just joined the chat and said Trump won cope. You need to have the brain of a 12-year-old to do that. Like it's not even. 90% of Trump supporters are super cringe. And yeah, we have some progressives who are cringe, but it really is a very large amount of them. Really hurts you where it hurts. Interesting. I saw something I thought was pretty gross, to be honest, on Twitter. The video of wait. What are we talking about here? This guy on CNN is kind of wild. Jennings. 10 years ago, the FBI had a 59% approval rating. Today it's like 41%.
They like this person to have to go to the table and answer questions just like everybody else, but there's enthusiasm for him. 10 years ago, the FBI had a 59% approval rating. Today it's like 41%. There's a lot of restoration work that needs to be done to restore public confidence in this agency. It probably does need a change agent, an outside change agent in the Republicans right now.
An outside change agent is needed to fix the FBI. What are the top complaints that people have about the FBI? What do they even know about the FBI's normal functions? Other than if you have concerns about the assassination attempt, that's the only reasonable thing you can talk about. Why was there a security lapse there? But when it comes to overall trust, that says nothing about what the FBI should do or what we should do. Just because people are being told to not like something doesn't mean there's an inherent issue. And it doesn't mean putting in Kash Patel, who is a known fraudster, a known scammer, who sells de-vaxxing supplements that say they can get the mRNA vaccine out of your bloodstream. That guy is a total just like scam art. Like he's not going to fix whatever issues there might be. The reason public trust went down is because Donald Trump lied about everything constantly, and Donald Trump used this propaganda network to make everyone not trust intelligence agencies, probably because Donald Trump knows the intelligence agencies will get him and his friends. Like,
they like this nomination. There's a long way to go, but they like it right now.
This is kind of like
who are they? Who are the they that likes the nomination? Like, what information do we even have about the FBI for their approval rating to go down? What does the general public know about the FBI to be like, oh yeah, I think the FBI is a lot worse now? It has to be from national politics.
How, you tell everybody that elections are rigged, and then when confident.
Someone says the FBI forced tech companies to censor opinions against the narrative. That was never a thing. They did not force any company to censor a narrative. There was no force. There was no actual force. There was no compelling speech from the FBI. There's no proof of that. But again, that's a lie that spread. So it's another lie that spread for why people would see something as less popular.
Elections go down. We're like, everybody, we need to change elections.
Are you saying the FBI hasn't made any mistakes?
I'm just saying, when you spend years and years telling.
There's no evidence they coerced either. Coercion has a word. There's a meaning to the word. There's a reason it's a word.
Everybody, yes. The FBI is corrupt. They're gonna.
Well, no, they have admitted to some corruption. There have been internal reports where they have admitted there have been FBI agents that themselves have gotten criminally in trouble.
Yeah, and I don't want to be the person needing to defend our intelligence agencies or the FBI, because there are many bad things that America does and our agencies do. But the thing is, they want to make the FBI worse at solving the actual crime. They want to replace people doing a good job in the FBI. They want to protect people doing a bad job, and they want more corruption. That's why Donald Trump doesn't like the FBI. He's not trying to make it a more honest organization. He wants it to be politically weaponized. Like, that's the entire point. They don't want to fix the FBI. All the complaints about the FBI, I don't want to have to defend them. But when Trump comes in and he's using it as a reason to take over intelligence agencies so he can have more power in government without any restrictions, I need to be pro-FBI then. I need to talk about being pro-police then. I need to talk about being pro-Capitol Police, because Donald Trump said the rioters were on his side and the police were on their side. The police were them to Donald Trump. Donald Trump did not care about the Capitol Police officers. Donald Trump doesn't care about anyone except his loyalists that only serve Donald Trump. He only cares about people that serve Donald Trump.
Exactly the correct point, which is that the FBI has a process for going over their own misdeeds, and they did it multiple times in the case of the accusations that Trump has made about the agency, including in the John Durham report, which was heralded by Republicans.
Right.
That was an attempt to look at all of these things, and he found problems.
Right.
That's called a process.
That's evidence
But that's why
that's
when- that's why
there's a
trust me.
process.
Perfect. I love being muted. Great. I'm censored by the FBI. I said there's a difference between coercion and pressure. Jon Stewart is... Wait, someone said Jon Stewart is just as lost as Trump? And okay. I censored myself to make up for Donald Trump being censored. Nice. Okay, so I'm probably gonna hit 10,000 subscribers during this stream, and I know it doesn't really matter, and I don't really think it's that big of a thing. I do appreciate it. But Bernie Sanders got me into politics. Although I'm no longer a Bernie bro, I think this is very fitting for me to watch this while hitting 10,000 subscribers. And Bernie Sanders is the reason I made my YouTube channel back in 2019 during the primary. So
let's spend some time on it, Senator.
And I watched Jon Stewart all throughout 2016. So look at this collab right here.
Damn it, let's do it.
And I know look, dude, hype. That's pure hype right there. And I know many of you have shared the same experience around that. But yeah, hype.
Let's spend some time on it, Senator.
Damn it, let's do it.
Damn it, let's do it.
I realized something. I was watching Hakeem Jeffries talk on Brian Tyler Cohen's show, and Bernie Sanders right there just saying like, yeah, let's do it in a human way. It really does look like many of these politicians, like Hakeem Jeffries looked like a statue talking. They really don't come off as genuine. Donald Trump looks like a statue too, by the way. Donald Trump does not move like a human, but I love seeing Bernie talk and move because it's so refreshing. It looks like an actual person is controlling him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the weekly show pod. My name is Jon Stewart. This is I don't know if it's not our last, it may be our penultimate weekly show pod for this, the Lord's year of 2024, which has been, I don't know if you guys have known this, but a little tumultuous. We appear.
I'm going to put this on 1.15 speed, I think. Yeah, 1.15 sounds good for this.
To be in a transitional period where we are not sure about whether the ground we are standing on is solid. Although the news media seems convinced that we are the roadrunner and the coyote has run over the cliff, and we just looked down and realized there's nothing under our feet, and now we are plunging to our deaths because the news media is always very circumspect. We don't know what's going to happen when Donald Trump takes over. Unfortunately, we can't see into the future, but we have to be prepared for all outcomes. I don't know how helpful it is to get us shitting our pants this much this early, but I guess it's always important to stay on top of it. It's kind of why I'm actually really excited to have this podcast. I am convinced it must be such a
I know I'm muted again. I'm falling apart right now. 4 more subs for 10,000. I saw Ross Carson, and it really just got me shaken because Ross comments under every video because I use run and ran in the wrong context. And I think Kamala Harris has ran a good campaign. And Ross will comment and say, oh, you mean Kamala Harris has run a good campaign? And I'll say, no, she ran a good campaign. And I'm not going to give up on my bad grammar. I'm keeping my bad grammar. I'm keeping some parts of my bad grammar. It's going to help me relate to the people once I'm a politician, Ross.
Strange thing it is for me, for someone who has kind of complained about wanting government to be more efficient and more responsive and making fundamental changes, to see that mantle being carried out by a group of people that I don't necessarily trust to do it in a manner. That is, but I guess that's what it is when that's what losing elections is, man. You don't get to dictate anymore. You don't get to say, well, wait, what if we did it this way?
We should let him cook. Let Donald Trump cook, bro. Let him cook. We should vote for Donald Trump's policies. Vote for him. Let him cook. Let him remove the ACA. Let him remove Medicare, remove Social Security. Let him cut the VA. Let Donald Trump cook. Do tariffs. Do 100% tariffs on every country, times 5 if that country starts with a C. Canada and China. We should be, and yeah, every country. We're gonna do massive tariffs on. We should be letting Donald Trump cook. We should be supporting Donald Trump's agenda. I want to see the American people react to what Donald Trump really wants to do, and I want to see their full impression. I want them to see the full Trump experience that they voted for.
That's the beauty of it. This is in the joint custody agreement that we now have in America. It is, I guess the kids they're going to live with dad for the summer, and you just got to fucking eat it. Just, I don't want them going on the lake in the raft. And you're like, well, you're not here. You're not in charge. So you don't get to decide. And that's a tough one. But I'm really excited for our guest today, because I think he has embodied somebody who's been really consistent about fighting for the rights of workers and fighting.
Talia said, you are a kid. I paid into SS. I'd like my share in 2 years. I'm sorry, buddy. I'm cutting your Social Security. We can't fund it. We got to give more tax breaks to Elon Musk so we could fund SpaceX more, so we could have SpaceX drones outside. We could have Elon Musk monitor our faces when we walk around in public and give us a social credit score on x.com. And x.com is going to be mandatory. You have to log in every morning when you wake up. We're using your Social Security to fund Elon Musk's private police state, and you can't do anything about it because Elon Musk donated to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is now God, Emperor, Dictator. So no more Social Security for you. Good luck. Good luck being in poverty at 85.
For an economy that more aligns with, I think, what a healthy society should align there.
Donald Trump is not touching Social Security. Yeah, probably because he's ineffective. He tried cutting it with every budget. Donald Trump tried cutting Social Security with every budget when he was president, but you guys don't care about that. Let's listen to Bernie.
Economy with and more bottom up and more respect for work and labor and not causing people to get squeezed in such a way that everything feels so tenuous all the time. So I'm excited to get to him. I won't.
Oh, let's go. Brandon used the ultimate argument. No, he didn't. Oh yeah, dude. I'm sorry you don't have access to the internet. You have exclusive internet that only allows you to I can't even talk. You have exclusive internet that only allows you to do dumb comments on YouTube short streams. You can't actually Google anything that happens in government.
I won't babble around any longer. I'll just get to it. So let's welcome in right now. We're delighted that he can join us. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders, Chair of the Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee. And Senator, thank you so much for being here today. I'm excited to talk to you.
Well, my pleasure, John, and keep up the great work.
Well, thank you, sir. You too. Now, I have sort of a theory of the election, and it is purely my opinion. But I got the sense that what kind of happened to the Democrats was that they were in a position to defend a status quo that most voters, certainly many, felt was no longer delivering for them. That, and there's all kinds of different iterations and permutations of that thought. But it feels like the party that believes most in government's ability to improve people's lives and to play that role kind of didn't understand that people felt that it wasn't, that many Democrats felt like, oh no, we are improving your lives. You just don't realize it. Mm-hmm. Is that something that resonates with you, sir?
It is, John. I would look at it just a hair differently, but I think you're on to the fundamental issue of the campaign. Bottom line is, Donald Trump said, the system is broken. That's all. And I'm going to smash it.
Right. I'm going to burn it down.
That's right.
Yeah.
And what Democrats have been saying is, basically, we're going to tinker around the edges, but we defend the status quo. We'll make a little bit of a change here or there.
Bernie Sanders coming in 2016 was a huge warning, by the way. Not only Donald Trump, but also Bernie Sanders. I guess he was a warning for Trump winning as well. But
Go around the
Hillary
edges.
Clinton, the fact Hillary Clinton was the party's selected, chosen leader from the start after losing to Obama in 2008, the fact she was going to be anointed the nominee, and Bernie Sanders came out of nowhere with only small campaign contributions and was able in a few months to shoot to like 48% in the polls and get so many votes and delegates with only small donations and being, completely kicked out of the media. The party's media treated him terribly. He was called racist, sexist. The fact Bernie Sanders was able to do so well with all of those hurdles that election should have been a huge warning to the Hillary Clinton campaign that they had to do a little bit more against Donald Trump. Bernie is the warning. The fact Bernie and Trump came at the same time is probably not by accident. Neoliberalism may have ran its course, and that means you, Raceland, is a chat member who believes in Reaganomics.
But we defend the status quo. We'll make a little bit of a change here or there. So if you're an ordinary person and you don't have to have a PhD in economics, what you understand is that you can't afford housing. You go to the grocery store, prices are higher. You understand that everything being equal, your kid may have a lower standard of living than you do, despite huge increases in worker productivity. You look around and you're seeing billionaires becoming much richer, while people in your neighborhood are falling further and further behind. You can't afford to go to a doctor, or if you're lucky, if you're blind, a doctor.
We just hit exactly 10,000 subscribers. Look at that. Hitting my soundboard that I don't have. I need a soundboard. Let me look up celebration noise. Celebration noise soundboard sound effect.
Oh, hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
No, that's not what I wanted. That's not the sound effect I wanted to celebrate. No, that's a random sound effect on YouTube. I did not want that sound effect to celebrate 10,000 subscribers. Wait a second. This one. Yeah, that's the right one. There you go. That's the right one, dude. That's the right celebration. I had the wrong celebration pulled up. I don't know who put that there. It just says celebration noise. I promise. I did not mean to say that. I don't know what that means. Who said that? That's crazy.
You have a little baby, the cost of child care is extremely high. You're worried about public education. The system is not working for you. The reality is it is working very, very well for the people on top. The people, in fact, who Donald Trump will end up defending.
And this is, Senator, for you, this has got to be sort of a strange moment. So
one thing about Bernie's analysis that I need to comment on is there are many suburban Trump supporters who are in very good economic conditions. White suburban voters go Trump by a heavy margin, and race and cultural issues can describe their voting patterns much more than anything else. But it is still true that Democrats picking up this narrative of really changing the system to benefit people will work. Because people think, oh, the system's corrupt, so we may as well have someone that's corrupt, but on my side, and that person is Donald Trump. So if Democrats really ran against corruption and said, we're going to make the entire system less corrupt, we're going to be anti-monopoly, go back to Teddy Roosevelt trust busting, FDR New Deal, that would be a decent platform to run on as long as they message in a really good way. But the entire class analysis portion isn't exactly true, because we do see people that are in very good positions of power in society, who are just voting Trump because they're anxious that they're going to be losing that position of power, whether because they're white or they have a decent amount of money and they're scared that outsiders are going to come ruin their communities and steal from them. A lot of cultural and social anxiety is a big reason. It's probably the main reason. It definitely is the main reason that Trump won both elections that he won, although he lost the popular vote against Hillary.
Who Donald Trump will end up defending.
And this is, Senator, for you, this has got to be sort of a strange moment. So I feel like you, for 50 years, have kind of railed against this idea of an economy that devalued labor and kind of overvalued capital and investment. And we watched money walk away from the United States, searching for cheaper labor and cheaper goods and all that. And we lost manufacturing base and workers. But generally, labor has paid the price of this kind of what they would call neoliberal economics. You've railed against that forever.
John, the issue is A, the reality, and B, that we don't talk about the reality. Okay, here's reality. You want to hear reality?
Man, please.
Over the last 50 years, 50 years, despite huge increases in worker productivity as a result of technology, the average blue-collar worker today, in inflation adjusted for dollars, is earning maybe the same, maybe a hair less than he or she did 50 years ago. How's that?
Not good.
It's horrible. It's unbelievable.
Right.
And at the same time, there has been a $50 trillion transfer of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. Got that? Massive transfer of wealth. So ordinary people may not have, know that, but they know that there is something fundamentally wrong. They're getting screwed. They had a good job in a factory. That factory is in China, and the very wealthiest people are becoming wealthier. That's the kind of angst that Trump was able to pick up on.
And do you think it's, when they talk about we have to defend democracy, but if the people believe that.
Raceland, I said white, suburban, and well-off. White, suburban, well-off went Trump by a heavy margin, by a very heavy margin. Most income brackets were still along a 50-50 split. So like between 100,000 and 200,000 income earners, they voted around 50-50. It's really not that big of a gap at that level. Household income below 30,000 voted more for Harris. The group that voted for Trump are those that are like lower middle class and higher working class. So if you make a high working class income, so like 35 to 45,000, or low middle class, which is like 50,000 to 80,000, then you went more Donald Trump. But if you made more than 100,000, it's like 50-50. But below 30,000, still voted for Kamala. But it's all very split. The biggest predictor is race, if we really want to talk about that. Income's not that big of a predictor for voting. It's race and cultural issues. And that's still reinforcing the point that I made.
That our democracy is a kind of soft oligarchy, and quite frankly, not even that soft.
No.
It appears to be an.
Mark C said, Jolah, are you married? Own a home? Well, I'm not married, but I do have a kid. You should know that. You're my son.
Oligarchy. And do they think, well, what am I actually defending here? We need not incremental
all my kids
changes.
are the chat.
We need.
Yeah, let's blame the race. How original. I'm not blaming race. I'm just talking about how white people voted Trump by like a 70 to 30 margin. It's just objective fact. I know fact really hurts your emotions, and you can't handle fact because fact will make you cry and storm the Capitol. But it's still a fact, okay? White people won Trump the election. It's just how it is. That's how the numbers played out.
Fundamental reform.
John, that's exactly right. And in fact, there was a poll.
And it's not even like it's a bad thing. It's just white people make up, I think, 70% of voters. If white people make up 70% of voters, then if they vote for one candidate by a huge margin, that candidate has a pretty good chance to win. Like black voters only make up like 10%. Latino only make up probably 5 to 10 or 10 to 15. I'm not really sure, but white people make up 70% of the voting base. Of course, white voters are going to matter.
Changes. We need fundamental reform.
John, that's exactly right. And in fact, there was a poll I saw in the New York Times a couple of months ago before the election. Something like 45% of the American people said democracy is not working for them. So what does democracy mean? Does it mean a big deal? You're going to go out and vote every 2 years, every 4 years? It means that the government is supposed to represent me. I feel good about it. I have people there who know what I'm dealing with and are passing legislation.
Feeling good is a big thing. Feeling genuine.
Legislation that improves my life. Do you think most people in America believe that's the case now? They don't and they shouldn't.
White people voted for Trump because he's white. Is that your racist argument? Are you going to cry about racism, Brew? Hop in Discord. I'm not doing the whole social justice crying thing, okay? If you want to cry, go somewhere else. I'm not talking about your crying. I'm just talking about facts and you're getting triggered.
Because not only do you have an economic system which is rigged, you got a political system which is corrupt. And again, we don't talk about it enough, but anybody who paid attention to this last election saw a few hundred billionaires, a few hundred people spending tens and tens of billions of dollars to elect the candidates of their choice. And you're the ordinary guy out there. Maybe you got to vote. So what does that matter when big money is buying elections? So your point is exactly right. Democracy is not some abstract idea. Oh, isn't it great? I can vote every 4 years. No, democracy is supposed to represent my interest. Most people don't think that it is.
And Bernie, do you think this is a customer service issue? Is this an issue of being so removed from, I mean, if you were to look at, and I've looked at these kinds of tax bills where they'll lay out the 8 tranches of where your tax money might go. Well, the first 5 of them don't really impact people's lives. How do you create a system of government where, there are tons of people in European countries who receive social services far beyond what we ever provide in the United States, pay higher taxes, but express much greater satisfaction.
A big
In our
issue.
democracy,
I think people would be okay with paying higher taxes if they got better services in return. They just need to see it work. Like Social Security and Medicare are very popular for a reason. If we did high-speed rail and paid family medical leave and some type of universal health care, I'm sure people would support it more. And that's an issue in Canada or the UK or any country that has universal health care. If you run against universal health care, they will not vote for you because it's so popular.
pay higher taxes, but express much greater satisfaction. Can our democracy deliver for its customers, or are we stuck with a kind of more autocratic, oligarchic system? How do you make that argument for people when they
We might be
don't
stuck.
believe that it can function efficiently?
I don't know. And we look at income tax for like federal income tax, and if a CEO gets paid $1 million in federal income tax, or not tax, but they get paid $1 million in income, and they pay the federal income tax rate, which is progressive, but then they get $8 million in stock compensation yearly, then how do we tax that person appropriately? We'd have to close the capital gains, unless if we set like a rate where you need to pay at the same proportion of income. And also, thank you, thank you so much for the $2. I appreciate all the support. Yeah, drop a like and subscribe. I don't know if you have a limit to where if you're a corporate CEO, if you get paid $1 million in like in regular income, that you need to get paid $1 million in stock. You can't get paid a disproportionate amount in shareholder value or stock, because that's kind of I don't know. Moving the money around like that definitely does evade taxes. So cleaning that up would be a big deal.
All right, John, that is a really, really important question. Maybe the most important question.
Let's spend some time on it, Senator.
Damn it, let's do it.
Damn it, let's do it, Senator.
All right. So the first point you made is that it is important for us to do what the corporate media often doesn't do, and take a look at what's going on around the rest of the world in many wealthy countries. You take what I consider to be maybe...
Thank you, Raceland. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you being someone who's who's different ideologically, who's still supporting the channel. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Nice to have y'all here for it.
What's going on around the rest of the world in many wealthy countries. You take what I consider to be maybe the most fundamental right, and that is healthcare. All right. So if you go out and poll people, and I do, is healthcare a human right? Should every American be entitled to healthcare, whether they're rich or poor, young or old? And you know what the American people say? They say, yeah, we do believe that.
Right.
And yet,
yeah, but if you tell them you're going to take away their private health insurance and replace it with a government system, the approval drops a lot. You would have to do it, like, the polling on this is very weird. And I think 75% of Americans report that they're happy with their healthcare coverage, and they think their healthcare coverage is adequate. So if 75% of Americans currently think their healthcare coverage is adequate, you need to sell for those people why their healthcare would be even better with your system. And also, you'd have to get the people who are not getting healthcare to vote. And typically those people are going to be a low voting turnout group. So it's going to be hard to advocate for universal health care, unless if we have a big shift in America politically and culturally.
you'll have, to your point, very few people in Congress.
No, that's true, Michael. It is a big issue with the medical field where it's really expensive, so it's hard to get in it. We need more doctors and nurses. Being a nurse is not that stringent, but being like a doctor should be cheaper. And we do have programs that support it, but it would be helpful to provide more access. We need more capacity for health. We're always going to need that. That job's never going away. Please drop a like and subscribe. Thank you all.
In the Democratic Party, in the Republican Party, who really say, you know, healthcare is a human right. The function of healthcare should not be to make huge profits for the insurance companies and the drug companies, but to provide quality care to all people. Now, you know what? That's a hard thing to do.
Now, is that statement gonna be a disagreeable one? The statement that if you are an insurance company or if you work in the medical field, if you're a company, your number one goal should be providing the highest number of people with the best standard of care possible. The number one goal for health insurance companies should not be maximizing profits. Does anyone disagree with that? You know what I mean? Like, is that the question we're going to disagree on? Because in my opinion, with that kind of market, health insurance is a very twisted field. And you can see right now, there was a thing that happened yesterday, and many people don't care at all. Like, many people do not care. They could care less because they have examples in their life where healthcare has been denied to themselves or a family member, and maybe they've seen someone die because a health insurance company rejected care. So I'm sure all of you see on social media, there's not even many conservatives that are calling out liberals for talking about yesterday in a lighthearted way. Like, no one cares that much about what happened yesterday. It's really interesting. It might be an internet thing too. I have not talked to many normies about it. I'm sure normies are a little bit more sympathetic to the situation, but there is a reason there's so much apathy around the healthcare system in America.
The drug companies, but to provide quality care to all people. Now, you know what? That's a hard thing to do for any country on earth. No system is perfect. But we have got to establish the premise healthcare is a human right, not just a commodity for large corporations to make money from. If you could do that, if people understood that they lived in a society in which they had healthcare as a human right, that in itself, John, would be a profound transformation of people's attitude toward government.
Right.
The free market can be authoritarian. The free market can easily create an authoritarian system. That's the thing. Like, a free market is inherently authoritarian. If you have mega corporations, that's why even some of the most hard far-right conservative economists agree you need to do trust busting and to break apart monopolies. A true absolute free market does not exist. It cannot work. That turns into empires, and we'd all be running on hamster wheels for Elon Musk.
I cannot tell you, having run for president, you hold 1 million meetings all over the country. Hearing the heartbreak of people who leave hospital hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and then go bankrupt because they were dealing with cancer. Does anybody think that makes sense? All right. We lose 60,000 people a year because they don't go to a doctor when they should. Meanwhile, we're spending twice as much per person on healthcare. This is an issue we are not even discussing, let alone figuring out how we can go forward. So to answer your question, if government begins to deliver for people, they say, hey, you know what? Maybe democracy works. Maybe I'm going to get involved. If it doesn't, if it just delivers for the rich, who the hell cares? Why do I need a democracy?
Well, they even look at, when any survey will tell you, the most popular.
Listening to Bernie talk about healthcare is like listening to Pelosi talk about democracy. They really don't know anything about it. You realize the systems Bernie's talking about are done in Canada. There's a version done in Australia that's multi-payer. Canada has single payer. We have Germany with a mixed system. We have France with universal healthcare. Every free developed country that is rich gives their citizens universal healthcare, and people in these countries live like 5 to 10 years longer than Americans do, and they have better health outcomes. In America, the number one cause of bankruptcy is medical debt. The number one cause of bankruptcy in America is medical debt. The number one. Medical bankruptcy does not exist in any other country. You're saying that, Pelosi talking about democracy is the same as Bernie talking about healthcare. Probably true, because they both understand the concepts. You don't. You don't understand the concepts. You're the one that doesn't understand it. But you want to have this hat on, your expert hat, and you want to be like, oh, this person's so dumb, when you don't understand it. That's the issue with being confident and dumb at the same time. And you're not dumb. You're not a dumb guy. But you have dumb opinions because you're not taking the time, discipline, and you're not putting in the necessary hard work. It's hard work to actually know what you're talking about. Have some discipline. Get up, work out, clean your room, read a book. Okay, then we can talk about healthcare systems.
Other things in government are probably Medicare and Social Security, and these are what's considered socialism. But in the rest of the industrial world are minimalist social safety net programs. But I'll even go a little further. When you mentioned earlier incrementalism, and I think that's such a fascinating point, Senator, and one that we don't talk about. Think about the trumpeting of, hey, we lowered insulin prices. We finally, after a 30-year battle of charging up the hill, we finally
did it. Keep in mind, capitalism is not compatible with democracy. Markets are, though. Markets are compatible with. You could have a democracy and have markets. Neoliberalism, like global neoliberalism, and the way we currently do it, is not very conducive to freedom. But you can have a system that has markets, obviously. Is there a term called market socialism? Is market socialism when you vote on like corporate boards? I don't know. I forget. But like social democracy is a good example of what I think we should probably strive for. And that's what the political values test told me. The political compass told me that I'm a social democrat, so I have to be that now.
Federal government got to negotiate insulin prices. And you want to say, well, we've been spending billions of dollars in subsidies for drug companies.
Yes, we have been. And America spends twice per capita that any other country does. We pay double for our healthcare, and our healthcare is paying private companies a profit. We spend more on healthcare and get less results because companies and CEOs get profits from it. And that's one reason, again, the situation from yesterday, there's still a manhunt for the person who did it, but the situation from yesterday, that situation did not get that much empathy for a reason.
Lowered insulin prices. We finally, after a 30-year battle of charging up a hill, we finally, as the federal government, got to negotiate insulin prices. And you want to say, well, we've been spending billions of dollars in subsidies for drug companies, and yet...
And everyone in the world comes to the U.S. for medical treatment. You realize that's only rich people who come for very specialized doctors in the U.S. because specialized doctors can be here and make money from rich people. That's not general healthcare. We're talking about family practice. We're talking about pediatrician. We're talking about regular preventative healthcare and regular hospital visits. If you want to see a specialty doctor, a specialist in a certain area, you got to spend a lot of money. You can travel from California to New York or New York to California because there's really good cancer doctors in certain places. Of course, there's certain countries around the world that have specialized medicine in many different areas. Cuba has some of the best specialized doctors. That's not an argument. Saying everyone comes to the U.S. for healthcare, that's not true. You're just making stuff up, buddy.
Our drug prices are much higher than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, there's still waiting lists in healthcare insurance networks. There's still waiting lists everywhere. But still, I don't know, bro. It's whatever. Americans don't want it. I'll just move to Canada. It's fine.
And you want to say, well, we've been spending billions of dollars in subsidies for drug companies, and yet our drug prices are much higher than anywhere else in the world. If this were Shark Tank and you were the investor, which is what the American people are, the return on investment is fakakta. It doesn't make any sense.
Whoa, Georgia today is being pummeled by the U.S. funding as the CIA tries to destroy their government. Georgia, we have a Russian propagandist in chat. And why would they go for Georgia? Like, seriously, dude. They went Trump. Like, Georgia went red this election. Why is the CIA trying to topple Georgia? And they're already in the union. Like, the Civil War is over. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, Georgia is we have two Democratic senators from Georgia. Like, seriously.
You're right. And you're wrong.
But wait a minute. Don't pull the rug out here, Senator. Yeah, talk to me.
Your basic premise is, of course, true.
Right.
On the other hand, you have to appreciate, given the corruption, the broad corruption that exists here, and the power of the drug companies, that it was a very significant achievement on the part of Congress and the Biden administration to at least start to do what every other bloody country on earth is doing. So we spend zillions of dollars on prescription drugs. It doesn't take a genius to say, hey, drug companies, let's sit down and negotiate a good price. The Veterans Administration, by the way, has been doing that for decades. Okay? Every other...
Yeah, in chat. I don't want to keep on disrupting Bernie, but I feel like we have a good chance to educate people today. Cuba has very good specialized doctors, and they have a universal system. They actually do diplomacy with their doctors. They send their doctors to other areas because their specialists are so good. Cuba has some of the most advanced medical professionals in the world. Like, you can just Google this. I know your internet connection and your mom only gives you access to YouTube, but if you have a chance to get on the regular World Wide Web, go to a local library and Google healthcare systems, and it might do you something good.
Drugs. It doesn't take a genius to say, hey, drug companies, let's sit down and negotiate a good price. The Veterans Administration, by the way, has been doing that for decades. Okay? Every other country on earth does it. It was a huge struggle. So the Biden administration deserves credit. But your point is, yeah, so what? We got insulin. Good.
How did we end up in that position? That's,
Yeah, all right. To your point.
Make sure you drop a like on the stream. And you can see people just like to be dumb. Like, they just don't care about facts. Good luck in Cuba. I'm sure Cubans love life there. I'm talking about their healthcare system. I'm not talking about the entire country of Cuba. Like, can we talk? Okay? Like, do we need to use Fortnite terms? So, in Fortnite terms, in Cuba, they provide the players with more mats. So when they get into a build battle, just doctors, because there's other classes, just like Team Fortress 2, there's other classes that perform, worse or better in certain areas. But in Cuba, their doctor class, they're medic. The medic in Cuba, in TF2, they have a lot of mats, like in Fortnite, provided from the government. And because they have enough mats, and those materials allow them to build quicker and more progressively. So just in that one field, the medic is really successful in Cuba, although other classes may not be as successful. It all matters what kind of mats you have. And if it's metal or wood, it doesn't really matter. It's just providing the right resources, you know.
And this gets back to, I think, getting back to the campaign, not good enough to say, look what we did, we got insulin, but by the way, a new cancer drug coming onto the market. You know how much it's going to cost a year?
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Are we really talking about taking on the pharmaceutical industry so that they don't continue to rip off the American people? No, that's not on the table. Can't be talked about.
And in many ways, you know, for me, I think if I'm fundamentally thinking about why government plays an important role in all this, you know, we talk about the system of democracy as checks and balances, and we all talk about legislative and executive and judicial and all these. I think what nobody ever really maybe projected into was the power of multinational global corporate interest. And they're really...
Oh, people just lie, dude. A 10-month wait. A 10-month wait for a checkup. You realize they have same-day checkups in Canada, right? The things that take a long time are going to be like MRIs and other tests that are more limited. But you can get a checkup same day in Canada. If you're waiting 10 weeks for healthcare in Canada, you probably live in like the most like obscure location possible. That's just like you're making stuff up.
Really isn't
for a
anything
checkup, bro.
that
For a
is other than
checkup.
government that has the size and hopefully the will. Look, the system that we have chosen to generate.
And like, bro, I have really good health insurance, by the way. I still want this to happen because I want more people to be healthy and I want more people to have access to healthcare. Like I'm doing this because I want other people to you know, feel success. It's not like I need this. Like I get really good good healthcare. But I still know these systems are better, especially because I want my neighbors to be protected too. I want my neighbors to not have to die without healthcare or to go into bankruptcy if they get cancer or something. And me, myself, I don't want to have to pay $500 for the ambulance. I don't want to have to pay for that either. I don't want to go bankrupt if I get cancer either. And I have really good health insurance, and it's still a possibility because our system is so broken. And thank God for Obamacare, the ACA, because without that, we'd be in an even worse position.
Profit is a powerful one. And it, as you very adeptly pointed out earlier, generates an incredible amount of wealth. But very clearly, that system has victims and collateral damage. And it feels like government's role should be to support those victims and the collateral damage and somehow be a check on this larger corporate entity.
But the corporate world understands exactly what you said, and that's why they're trying to buy the government. So in some ways, you can almost look at government today as a result of Citizens United, as the House and the Senate, as employees of large corporations and wealthy people. I mean, that's what, you know, if you're a billionaire, you could start a super PAC, put hundreds of millions of dollars into an effort to defeat, say, Sherrod Brown in Ohio or other candidates, or AIPAC. If
the ACA was a cash grab for insurance companies and took away deductions from people, 40 million more people, 40 or 50 million more people got healthcare because of the ACA. The ACA slowed down insurance company profits. It slowed them down. It didn't fix it. But again, the ACA is just like a right-wing healthcare reform. The ACA is it was a federal mandate program that forces insurers to abide by certain patient protections, and it opened up a healthcare market facilitated by the government to buy private health insurance, and there were some subsidies for it, but a universal system is much more effective. And if you care about a cash grab from insurance companies, then you should really want universal healthcare if that's what you care about.
If you disagree.
But I'm sure if you hear something about that, you're going to change your position again because you're just a magical jack of all trades. You could take any position you want. You have every political ideology under your belt just so you can be contrarian.
To an effort to defeat, say, Sherrod Brown in Ohio or other candidates, or AIPAC. If you disagree with what Netanyahu is doing in Gaza, well, you're going to have to deal with AIPAC, who's prepared to spend $17 million in a bloody Democratic caucus. You want to stand up to AIPAC? Good luck to you. So that gets back to money in politics, how horrific Citizens United has been, not only in allowing billionaires to buy elections.
Okay. If insurance companies cash grab, why wouldn't the government? Because all the money goes back into the system. You pay salaries and then it goes back into the system. For insurance companies, they have shareholders. They make profits. They keep the extra money and reinvest it into shareholder value. So, like, for example, government programs, 100% of our taxes that go to a government health insurance program would go into healthcare. But when you give $100 to an insurance company, 30% of that is set aside for taxes, and then 20% of it is set aside so they can reject your claims, and then 50% of your money is given back to you. Your insurance company is essentially telling you what money you're allowed to access of your own money that you're buying in. You have to just, oh God, I hate it because it's just. We need a basic civics lesson that explains private companies versus government and how government works and how programs work. Like the fact so many people have no idea how these things function is so damaging for everything. Wouch.
But to intimidate people.
Instead of shareholders, you have bureaucrats. I don't.
You want to stand up to the drug companies? Fine. They're going to put a whole lot of money to defeat you. Prepared to do that? Well, maybe I don't want to do that. That's where we are at.
Senator, do you think it's fair to say, even before Citizens United, that, kind of money talks, bullshit walks? Like the government had been captured by these sort of moneyed interests for a very long time. I mean, even back to our founding, it's been.
God, it's always been
the fact Elon Musk turned bureaucrats into a curse word is wild. Bureaucrats are actively working for the public sector when they could be making more money in the private sector. And many of them are literally just trying to do a good job. But Elon Musk knows that bureaucrats regulate corrupt companies, and Elon Musk does not want his corrupt companies to be regulated. So, of course, he's going to say, unelected bureaucrats are a bad thing. Unelected bureaucrats, as if they're like a dark money group or something, when they have a locked salary and just like decent healthcare for working for the government. But they can easily work for a private insurance company and work to remove healthcare from you. They could instead make a lot more money taking away your healthcare, but they dedicated their life to public service. Wow, dude, I want to make a lot of money. I'm not going to work for an insurance company. I'm going to become a bureaucrat. Like, oh my God, bro.
the case. It goes without saying. The rich have the power. But Citizens United and these super PACs.
The ACA is not government run. True. It's not government. Wait, did someone say the ACA is government run? It's government facilitated markets with subsidizing and incentives. And it makes sure insurance company, it dictates what insurance companies need to provide.
Have made a very bad situation much.
6% of federal employees actually physically go to work every day. What do you think they're doing? Laying concrete? Do you think they need to put a hammer and use a jackhammer? They're working office jobs. Do you think it matters where the computer is when they're writing policy and when they're like scanning financial documents and making sure that companies are not abusing Americans? Do you need to be there physically in person? Do you have to do a push-up? Do you have to do jumping jacks or something in person? Do you need to be in the physical building in order to make sure that you can crack down on Elon Musk defrauding people, like frauding people?
Much worse.
So let's talk about how
you think you work harder at the office or at home. Both. I do the same work at both, buddy. At the office, you just BS in your chair if you don't have work to do. You do your work and you sit there and talk to people. You do your work. Either way, you do your work. Either way, companies that have at-home workers are doing fine. The only reason they want people in person is because of archaic views of labor, and also because they want to be able to justify paying real estate.
The Republicans have captured that kind of mantle of, we're going to defend the forgotten man. We're going to defend, the mantle that you have taken on for your entire career, and never wavered in any of it. But is there populism for workers a false populism? Because if you look at, they might say, okay, let's get more protectionist on trade and try and draw some of those jobs back. But if you look at all the court decisions from the right, it strips workers of their rights to form unions. It strips protections for workers. Is this a facade that they're proffering?
Of course it is.
Or are there things in it you like?
Well, there will be, some things that Trump said, some things that Elon Musk said, some things that Robert Kennedy said that make sense. But overall, I think it's very clear, Trump is appointing his billionaire friends to the important positions in the cabinet, and his job is to represent the billionaire class, with some exceptions. He's going to have to walk a bit of a tightrope because he's made promises.
Scotty, think about this for a second. If I can do my job from home, have you been in traffic driving to work ever? If I can do my job from home, that means I'm one less car on the road causing traffic. And I'm also one less car on the road consuming gas, making gas prices go up. People being able to work from home benefits everyone involved. Everyone benefits if someone can work from home. Do you want more traffic on your commute? Do you just want people to be forced to do what you want because your emotional feelings, because you're going to cry if you find out people are working from home? I'm sorry if you can't work from home. It is a privilege, 100%. But we shouldn't go off of your feelings. We should go off of facts about what actually helps society and what can work and what functions. Like what works best. And what people want as well. That matters too. And I also want your working conditions to be better. And I want you to have rights. And I want you to have labor protections. And I want you to get paid more. And I want you to have healthcare. And I want your family to have healthcare. And that's my entire political model, is making sure that all workers are served and we don't have a corrupt government. That's my entire political model. But you are focused on hating people and being mad about other people. You're so focused on that, you can't keep your eye on the ball. You can't keep your eye on what really matters. You want to punch down at people. You never want to punch up. We're all too scared to punch up. We're all concerned with punching down, fighting our neighbors, never coming together. We should be rising to the occasion when there's an issue, talking to our neighbors, making more relationships, and advocating for each other, even people we don't know. Even if that person's not in the room, we should be fighting for every single person, every human being. But we don't have a culture like that. We have an individualist culture. We have an isolated culture. COVID-19 did not cause the isolation. America has been going that direction. We need less isolation, more community, more coming together. And that's my motivational speech. And that's why you should give $2.99, $2.99 per month as a member for my channel. Drop a donation so I could give more motivational speeches to connect the working class. A leftist is not your neighbor, I'm blocking you. If you're that much of a weak, pathetic individual, I don't want you in the chat. You could go comment somewhere else.
Promises to working class people. And I think what my job, and people in Congress who share my views, not too many, is to say, okay, Mr. Trump,
Chuck, you're bringing up Jesus. I guarantee you reject Jesus. You reject the teachings of Jesus because Jesus focused. The reason Jesus came, the reason God sent his only son is to show humans an example of how to live through the Holy Spirit. It's to show humans how to treat each other. The New Testament is there for a reason. These guiding principles. Jesus came and protected the poor, protected the lepers, protected the prostitutes, protected sex workers, protected the weakest in society. That's why Jesus came. Jesus came to be a good neighbor, like State Farm. State Farm is.
We talked about a 10% cap on interest rates for credit cards. That's a great idea. Well, you know what, John? I'm going to introduce that legislation. Let's see how far it goes. For years now, I have understood, as most Americans have, that the defense budget is bloated, that many of the major...
Okay, we're going to listen a little bit. Thank you all for joining me. Progressive commentary. Make sure you drop a like, hit subscribe. Join the Discord as well. We're going to listen to this conversation and vibe a little bit. I'm yelling at chat a lot. But we just hit 10,000 subs. But make sure you join Discord. We have debates in there, discussions all the time. Yeah, we can stay connected with members of our community. But yeah, definitely. Here's the link again for anyone who needs it. Join the Discord. On our poll, who's more progressive? Teddy Roosevelt, FDR, Bernie Sanders, or Hunter Biden? Bernie Sanders came in first. FDR came in second. Hunter Biden came in third. And Teddy Roosevelt came in fourth. So Teddy Roosevelt is less progressive than Hunter Biden. Oh, man. That's a very correct chart. I guarantee you that's 100% correct chart.
Major defense contractors engage in fraud and waste, massive cost overruns. All right, I have legislation in to cut military spending by 10%. Recently, you may have noticed Elon Musk came out and said, you know what? We should be cutting military spending. How many Republicans will go along? So when they say good things and appropriate things, I think we should work with them.
How do you walk that tightrope? Because what I find is there is a gag reflex from, and I think both parties have it, a gag reflex on Robert Kennedy says,
from Hunter Biden,
ultra processed foods are killing Americans. And I'm like, yeah,
that's right.
God awful. That's got to change. But if you were to say that, boy, are you just dogpiled. How can you agree with Robert Kennedy Jr. on anything? He's this and that. And Elon Musk says we've got waste and inefficiency in the government. And we're like, yeah, we've been yelling about that for years. And as soon as you do that, how dare you? It's really interesting.
John, that is.
Okay. All right, I'm sorry, but we know that Elon Musk is going to cut good government programs. We should not be validating Elon Musk. I don't get the approach there. Unless if you want to call him out as a hypocrite. I don't get that approach. And RFK, I don't care if he's right about like McDonald's being unhealthy. You can say that. That's an easy opinion to have. I think you can ask like you can ask a newborn baby who cannot form a word yet if McDonald's is unhealthy, and they'll give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down based on the response. Like they will know McDonald's is unhealthy. That's like such a low barrier for human intelligence. But then you're like anti-vaccine and anti, you think you can use like supplements to get the mRNA vaccine out of you because of spike proteins, and you think the vaccine does gene editing. You're like, oh yeah, maybe we should not justify RFK. And also RFK spreads the lie that high fructose corn syrup is less healthy than sugar. They have relatively the same effect on your health. Overconsumption of high fructose corn syrup or cane sugar is pretty much the same. It's about overconsumption, not about the actual source of the sugar.
It's exactly what the challenge is. I'm holding a hearing as of today, and for the next month, I am chairman of the Health Education Labor Committee. You know what I'm holding a hearing on tomorrow? To demand to know why the commissioner of the FDA has not, in fact, at least gone forward with strong labels to warn the American people about.
See, I got to stop watching chat because I got to respond. Someone said we should not trust Bernie because he endorsed Musk. He did not endorse Musk. He did not endorse corn syrup drinker. I'm sorry, I understand how the world works. You want to go play with some blocks? You want to put a square peg in a round hole? I guarantee you can't do this puzzle. I guarantee you. I guarantee you're insulting me, okay? But if I presented this to you, all right, all I got to do to win a debate versus you is bring this guy up, all right? And I guarantee you're going to fail. You're going to be failing in a second. It's not even going to be a competition. And I think you should really consider that.
The nature of the food that they are eating, which is leading to obesity, which is leading to diabetes. We have been absolutely irresponsible. Kennedy is right on that issue. Your point is that he wants to take fluoride out of water. That's a disaster to my mind, plus many of the other crazy things he says. So you're saying, how do you walk that line? Well, that's exactly what we are trying to figure out right now.
Because they've identified, look.
Okay, that's good, though. Bernie said he doesn't know how to walk the line, so that's decent.
The system that we're currently operating in, Senator, is you've got food companies that have scientists that are working to design foods to get past the chemicals in your brain.
What? No, the addictive... Okay, the high fructose corn syrup is not the thing that makes it more addictive. That's not the item that makes it more addictive. Cane sugar, high amounts of sugar and sodium, whether it's from cane sugar or high fructose, is very similar in how addictive it is. There's some studies that say high fructose corn syrup is a little bit more addictive, but it's not statistically significant at all. There's no study that says high fructose corn syrup causes like a severe rate of addiction. But it's kind of funny because the same people who will like say that drugs are not that addictive and you could just quit them are going to say that high fructose corn syrup is the main reason people are... They activate dopamine receptors. Yeah, sugar does that too. Yeah, cane sugar is just as addictive. Yeah, exactly. Same addictiveness. It's not like different.
Brain that tell you to stop eating, to get past those defenses, which creates diabetes.
And also, the farming industry, you'd be killing a lot of farmers. Like, a lot of farmers rely on using corn and gas and also using corn and high fructose corn syrup. Big agriculture, dude. Big agriculture will not like getting rid of that. And we also can't get rid of cane sugar because I'm pretty sure America can't produce cane sugar. And we have tariffs on cane sugar, which is another reason we use high fructose corn syrup. It's harder to get cane sugar into America. Do we have tariffs on it currently? Do we have current tariffs on cane sugar in the USA? Let's see. Yeah, we do have tariffs on cane sugar. What's the percent?
The chemicals in your brain that tell you to stop eating, to get past those defenses, which creates diabetes and obesity. And then you have the pharmaceutical companies who come in and say, well, here's Ozempic and here's Mounjaro. And now we're caught in this banana.
Jon Stewart's being a little bit, unless if you're saying like McDonald's is working with Big Pharma on purpose. Like, is McDonald's purposely getting people addicted to unhealthy food on behalf of Big Pharma? I don't know if I really agree with that. line right
working
there.
to design foods to get past the chemicals in your brain that tell you to stop eating, to get past those defenses, which
That's
creates
one
diabetes
problem,
and obesity.
sure.
And then you have the pharmaceutical
agree.
companies who come in and say, well, here's Ozempic and here's Mounjaro. And now we're caught in this banana.
Hawaii sugarcane farms because it could easily be restored. Do you understand how big the world is? Do you like, what is the sugar cane production capacity here? Okay, I'm going to go on ChatGPT. Okay, I'm going to ask hypothetically, if we can reinstitute corn sugar, or not corn sugar, cane sugar production in Hawaii, how much could we... What do you think the shipping costs are if we had to produce the entire country's supply of cane sugar from Hawaii? Do you know how far away Hawaii is from like mainland United States? Like, you guys are hilarious. You guys just make stuff up.
Cycle where these corporations are just profiting off of our incredibly poor health outcomes.
Right.
You guys probably think we have like an infinite water source like in Minecraft. You just put water in, you get a couple of buckets of water and you'll just have infinite water, bro.
Profiting off of our incredibly poor health outcomes.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna try not banning for a little bit, or try not pausing for a little bit. America is unhealthy, and we need the FDA to be expanded. The FDA is restricted. We need more government regulation. If we're gonna say, here's the thing: you could say you're against government regulation, but if you're against government regulation, okay, you can't say you want our health system to be more like Europe, or not health system, but you can't say you want our food system to be more like Europe. So we have food standards like in Europe for like food dyes or whatever, or Canada, because they have a really active regulatory state and government to make that happen. So you either need to be pro big government here, or you can't complain. There's no like small government solution to this. Like I don't understand like the cognitive dissonance in that part.
Off of our incredibly poor health outcomes.
Right. All right. And that's exactly the issue we're talking about now. We have talked to scientists. To your point.
That's a crazy comment. Just get the immigrants to swim over and dude, that's crazy.
Who are saying that the food that they are advertising massively on TV, which is another issue, is addictive. It is, I want more and more of that crap. And it stays with me my whole life, which is why we're seeing an epidemic in childhood obesity. 20% of the kids now, 40% of adults. We're spending $400 billion a year on diabetes-related illnesses. How's that? 1/10 of the other healthcare budget. Has the government acted in any way with the urgency that is needed? Of course, it has not. So Kennedy is right on that issue. But your point, how we deal with that, plus, the crazy stuff that he's saying is exactly what I'm trying to figure out.
So
I would probably say the benefits of what Kennedy's talking about are so minor because people have been saying that forever, and Republicans are going to be against any regulations on this. They're not going to do anything about it. But they might be for like banning vaccines. That's the thing. Like the bad stuff, RFK. Let's say, for example, the big hypothetical here with Elon Musk and RFK. If they had good beliefs and bad beliefs, let's say Elon Musk agreed the Pentagon was overfunded, which is stupid because Elon Musk gets paid billions of dollars in government contracts from the Pentagon. So Elon Musk is not going to cut his own funding. But let's say he did want to cut that. Republicans are only going to let them cut the things that we don't want them to cut. RFK is only going to be able to do the things that are unpopular. Like they're not going to be able to come in and actually regulate the food industry more. That's not happening. And yeah, RFK's anti-vax stance is actually conspiracy cult leader level of commitment to the anti-vaccine movement. We could look at any chart of deaths from measles and see that it's a huge benefit. Make sure you drop a like and hit subscribe. Thank you.
Do we get the government to be more? Look, democracy is clearly kind of an analog system.
Yeah, those government contracts that Elon Musk was paid for by Democrats. Which political party do you think is more pro-defense budget being increased? Are you serious? Are you a kid? Are you 12? Do you want me to find your Roblox password for you? Actually, don't go on Roblox. It's not safe for little kids like you on Roblox. But go play, I don't know. What do kids play? Digimon? Digimon's kind of old. Does anyone remember Digimon? I don't even remember Digimon. That's probably before my time.
System and designed to be as such. And we live in a digital world. But let's go to a specific example that I think proves.
Measles is not a deadly disease. Dearest Dawn, do you... I'm gonna go crazy. Dude, it's like they jab you with the dumbest things in the world, bro. They're getting my HP part. Like I'm at like 1 HP. I'm at 1 HP with stupid bullshit being pounded in my eyeballs. I gotta stop looking at chat.
Proved really detrimental during the election for the Democrats, and that is the border. Now, it's pretty clear that the border was a real problem in terms of security and the pressure it was putting on not just those border communities, but all kinds of other areas with the amount of people coming in. The administration had the ability to do something in a pretty agile and urgent way through executive action. And they kept saying, well, if they put something in front of my desk, I'll sign it. Or the parliamentarian says I can't. And they've got all these reasons. And I always think of this as this is Washington. It's rules, it's loopholes, and it's norms. If you don't want to do something, it's complex enough. There's always a rule that tells you that you don't have to do it. But there's always a loophole if you really do want to do it. And there's always a norm where you can shake your finger at somebody for doing it. They let that border
Vaccine
situation fester for 2 years and ultimately just did the thing that they could have done 2 years earlier. And didn't that show people?
This is a really interesting question John's asking.
Well, wait, so the government could do it. They just didn't?
I don't know if the conditions were in place. It's complicated. These things take time. It's not like you can come in as a Biden administration and be in for a month and do what they did with the border with all these different deals. And they've been doing it the entire administration. Getting the numbers down to pre-pandemic levels is really impressive without getting any policy or legislation passed through Congress. So like what Biden and Harris did, these things take time to develop. The partnerships take time, and I don't know if they could have fast-tracked that necessarily. It was really a difficult situation to manage.
Yep. I could give you many examples of that.
Bring them.
All right. I'll give you one
Yep.
example.
Yep.
All right. It's relevant to the state of Vermont, but it's, I think, speaks to the broader issue.
Measles is very deadly too because it kills your immune system. And this is how, okay, so, oh my God, I gotta go get 25 different degrees to talk about this stuff. Measles is largely deadly because it's so infectious, okay? That's one of the reasons we needed a vaccine, because it infects very quickly and spreads. It's very contagious. It spreads very quickly. And also it shuts down your immune system. So there's a good chance you get measles. And poor people die more from this. So poor countries die a lot more from measles. But there's a good chance you get measles and get killed from pneumonia or the flu. So the measles kills your immune system. So it's not like you're going to die from the measles all the time, but it's extremely debilitating and like crushes your body terribly. And even if you survive it, you're left very weak if you're not vaccinated.
Issue. Vermont.
Oh, the government puppet is live. Sorry, I can reiterate like fact about walking outside. Can you? Never mind.
State of Vermont, but it's, I think, speaks to the broader issue. Vermont has been hit hard by flood.
Michelle says another reason to keep illegal immigrants from flooding into our country. They bring diseases with them that we haven't seen in decades. Well, that person's getting banned. And that's not censorship. That's just blocking racist lies. And I'm not going to have that on my channel. And I'm not responding to that either. I don't want to waste time. And someone said stupid lib. Not doing that either. We don't do ableism here, buddy. Seriously. I know you self-identify as that, but I'm not going to say that word, okay?
Flooding in recent years as a result of climate change. And one of the floods did a job on our state capital, Montpelier, Vermont, beautiful downtown, and included damaging the federal building, which contained the local post office.
Yo, that's okay. Let's rewind. There's talking about some cool stuff here, but that's the right wing, the white wing. That's the white wing. That's the white wing way. It's the white wing. It's the white wing. That's the right wing brainwash. The white wing. It's the right wing brainwash when they talk about how diseases are not infectious. Okay, vaccines don't work. You know, it's not dangerous at all. Diseases do not matter. Unless if it's brought in by an immigrant, then that same disease quadruples in mortality. It becomes a bioweapon. It's tied to immigration. Therefore, it is now a real issue that I constructed in my head.
But it's, I think, speaks to the broader issue. Vermont has been hit hard by flooding in recent years as a result of climate change. And one of the floods did a job on our state capital, Montpelier, Vermont, beautiful downtown, and included damaging the federal building, which contained the local post office. Okay? Post building was shut down. We needed a new post office for that community. There were many vacant buildings in the area. Probably it would have taken.
The COVID jab didn't work. The COVID shot did work very well, extremely well, actually. The death rate for those who did not have COVID were, I think, 100 times higher than those who got the COVID vaccine. The COVID vaccine was extremely effective, had great outcomes. Yeah, and actually reduced the cases of myocarditis, by the way. The COVID vaccine reduced total cases of myocarditis because getting a bad case of COVID gave you a much higher chance to get myocarditis than 10 vaccines did. So like, I know you don't like facts or logic, but if you want to go to an echo chamber and you could have your fun, but don't come here for your echo chamber. I don't want to make you mad. I don't want to make you mad, dude. I don't know why you come here to get mad. All right, I'm just a guy on the screen. I'm an AI bot. I'm not even real. I'm just a fact checker.
In the private sector, a week or
Raceland, they are wrong.
two to find a location and start the.
You can't give basis to people based on hypotheticals, because then you can make literally any claim in the world. Then, with that standard, you can make any claim in the world. Like, this could hypothetically happen because of this hypothetical reason. You can make any claim for that. We don't have people coming here from like literal, what are they called? Like disconnected tribes or whatever.
The process of opening a new facility. We and the entire Vermont delegation.
Like, that's one of the biggest lies. They spread it about Haitian immigrants as well, and it was just totally just not reinforced by anything. Oh, I got you, Island. I got you. It's a pro-vaccine argument. Well, actually, yeah. Isn't that something they did in like Palestine, for example? They got everyone inoculated for polio, I'm pretty sure, because polio was spreading really bad in Palestine. So like refugees and everything, getting them inoculated and vaccinated, is a huge goal. But yeah, I guess it's
Start the process of opening a new facility. We and the entire Vermont delegation begged and pleaded with the post office. It took them literally a year to do what could have been done in several weeks. All right. And the examples go on and on. So if I believe that in a democratic, civilized society, government must play.
The reason these diseases aren't here is because we are vaccinated. Yeah, and I don't know if these people care. Okay, I did not hear the story from Bernie. I kept on responding to chat. I want to hear him talk about the post office. I'm sorry.
Post building.
Make sure you drop a like and subscribe, though. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. One more chat. Where have you seen anti-vax takes by RFK Jr.? Did you see his quote about there being no safe and effective vaccine? He said there's no safe and effective vaccine, and he said the COVID vaccine is uniquely unsafe. You could look up that quote. I mean, I could bring it up later if you're still here, but
Montpelier, Vermont, beautiful downtown, and included damaging the federal building, which contained the local post office. Okay, post building was shut down. We needed a new post office for that community. There were many vacant buildings in the area. Probably it would have taken somebody in the private sector a week or two to find a location and start the process of opening a new facility. We and the entire Vermont delegation begged and pleaded with the post office. It took them literally a year to do what could have been done in several weeks. All right. And the examples go on and on. So I believe that in a democratic, civilized society, government must play an important role in protecting ordinary people. People are not going to believe that unless we make the government efficient and able to deliver services in an appropriate way.
And I guess ultimately the question is, Senator, do you believe it can? Have you seen instances where it does accomplish that, like at the border? They just decided, oh, yes, do that.
Yes, there are many instances. I mean, I can go back to when my family didn't have any money. So I went to a public school. You know what? It was a damn good public school. Teachers were respected. They took their job seriously. It was adequately funded. They educated kids in an appropriate way. Right now, despite all of the criticism you may hear, the VA medical system, you go to a VA hospital in Vermont, you know what the veterans will tell you? Pretty good health care. And it's cost effective. And they need more support. But those are just, and there are great public schools today all over this country where teachers are doing a great job.
Oh, well, look, someone said
VA is doing a good job. There are other agencies that are doing a good job.
There's agencies that are doing great jobs. You're right, Bernie. And that should be known. Let's see. Trump won. the only thing you should focus on is saving your hair. I'm sorry that your life is so pathetic and useless that you need to take Donald Trump as your own personality, but you should really strive to do something greater. Wake up tomorrow, work out, clean your room, make sure you read a book, use moisturizer on your face. It's getting to the winter times, and I know you probably think that's gay, but it's good to take care of your face as well. Just make sure that you stay healthy, drink a lot of water. If you need a parenting adult figure in your life, I can help you. Just become a channel member, and I'll give you advice if you ever need help talking to girls or anything. But thank you for your comment.
Job. So I don't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. But there is no question that if we're going to get people to believe in democracy, we've got to make government more accountable, and we've got to start delivering for the people.
And perhaps for Democrats, if they feel like this is a time to really reflect on that the changes aren't about wokeness.
Bernie never got a job till he was in his 40s. Bernie was a carpenter. You can Google.
Or other issues that are ancillary. The change is really about getting government. I always thought this was really interesting. Amongst the Democrats, they'll say the billionaires have to pay their fair share, and we need to get the upper class to pay their taxes and do all that. But they don't do a very good job of convincing you what that money is going to be used for and what value are you. So if you go to somebody and you say, we need those people to pay their fair share, but the public says, well, what are you doing with that money? Because it looks like you're just diddling around. So
we do need a better messaging campaign for it, for sure. Thank you for your comment, buddy. Just some advice. If you're going to take a picture like this and ask your friend to take a picture for your Tinder profile, make sure you get a better angle. You can't really see your face, so you kind of give off that like you're hiding something vibe. Just make sure you get a more direct angle. Either focus on yourself or the background. You don't want to deviate between either too much, because if you don't focus on one, it's just going to be a really weird and cluttered photo. Centering yourself in the middle of the picture and having it cropped like that is not very good either. It doesn't really help you appear aesthetically pleasing. So make sure you have a different angle. The ripped jeans, the Nikes are a nice touch. I appreciate the jacket, the hoodie, staying warm. Fall weather. I like the trees. It shows that you're adventurous, an outdoors person. It's really good. So it's a decent profile. Oh, it's from 5 years ago? Oh, I'm sorry. And now have fun. There you go. Goodbye.
Don't Democrats, to kind of recapture the faith of the people, have to begin to square that circle of having people believe that the money that they send up comes back with reasonable value?
Yes, absolutely it does. And I think that speaks to not only making government efficient, it's really changed.
Oh, let's go, Brandon. You love supporting rich people. I support the working class. I love the working class. I like workers and the middle class. I don't really like the top 1% as much. I prefer to support my neighbors. If you want to just worship Elon Musk and get on your knees every morning and pray to him, you can. But the reason they pay most of the taxes is because they have all the money, and they don't pay 90%. But they have all the money. Give me all the money, I'll pay all the taxes, guys. I'll take that responsibility. I know it's a huge burden for the ultra-rich. It's a huge burden to pay all the taxes in America. I will take that responsibility. I volunteer as tribute. Give me billions of dollars. I will donate my money to the government. I'll pay higher than my expected tax rate, dude. I'll pay all the taxes. Give me 10 super yachts, 15 mansions. I will pay all the taxes. Thank you for pointing that out. You're right. The billionaires do pay all the taxes. You know what? I wish I was in their position.
Changing the mindset of the whole country. Right now, you tell me how many graduates of Harvard or Yale College go into public school teaching. What would be your guess?
That go into public school teaching?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I mean, I would think it's.
Why am I so triggered? Because I'm sick of people like you talking about culture issues and crying about social issues all the time, and just being so obsessed with hating liberals, so that you're going to allow people to dominate our entire society and take away our personal liberties and individual freedoms in general, because you want to be on the internet and be annoying versus actually going together with your neighbors and coming together to actually organize for something that matters. That does make me triggered. You can try to say something social justice-y. I really don't care about that. But not supporting working people is enough to get me a little bit heated, kind of like a hot tamale.
It's incredibly small. I would think it's 3% or less.
All right. I think that's true.
Right.
What we have got to do is, in a sense, change the value system of this. Right now, we're getting into a deeper issue. You know, we talk about oligarchy, which is the reality. You have 3 people in America who own more wealth than the bottom half of America. You got more concentration of ownership today than we've ever had. And you got billionaires buying elections. You add that up, that is not maybe, that is oligarchy. All right. And then what you got is, okay, John, you're raising a kid. What should this child strive for? Well, obviously, to become like Elon Musk. The goal of life is to become a billionaire.
Oh, that's Let's Go Brandon. That's what he's doing right now. He grew up as a kid. He's like, I want to be Elon Musk.
Billionaire, that's all it is. And, you know, Trump is a perfect example of that. You lie, you cheat, you steal. He was involved in 4,000 lawsuits as a private
Let's Go
businessman.
Brandon's
He
gone.
lied all the time. But that's good because
Trump
he
did
made
a-
money.
he
That's
did
all
lie
that
all
we
the
want.
time.
Turn on the goddamn.
And I'm going to say something right now for my audience in general. It's okay to be triggered, especially over class issues. If someone is going to come up to you and talk about how rich people pay too many taxes and, oh, poor them, the billionaires got to pay all the taxes, tell them you're going to pay all the taxes, make you a billionaire. You'll be happy. Okay, I will take that responsibility. How about instead of talking about hypothetical scenarios, about social issues and culture wars and all that kind of stuff, how about we talk about how we make our community better and things that actually matter? How about we get to doing difficult conversations and getting difficult things done? It's okay to be triggered on that point. It's okay to be righteously angry. The righteous anger is fine. It's not okay to cry about like Greek literature and whatever and Shakespeare, but you know, don't cry about pronouns either, but do be mad if someone's going to say something that stupid, okay? On their behalf, you should be supporting them. We're going to save them because they've been blasted with propaganda, all the propaganda in the world from the Joe Rogan podcast. The Joe Rogan podcast, which only has billionaire guests on it from now on. Like, why does Joe Rogan only have billionaires on his podcast now? What happened to the regular people? What happened to just normal dudes talking about weird stuff?
Damn television. You can't watch a program without being flooded with ads, right? All right. That we got to take a deep breath.
Why do most billionaires endorse Kamala? That's not a true thing. Oh my god. Twitter is dude, I can't do it. I need to get major funding for my channel because I cannot do this. I can't do it. Twitter ruined America.
And ask ourselves, is that really the society we want? Everybody going out, becoming a billionaire? Or maybe how do we work together to create a good healthcare system? How do you come into teaching? We respect you. We love you because you're teaching kindergarten kids. That's important. You're respected. You're well paid. That is revolution in values in America. That's what we've got to do.
No question, because it's, you know, well, listen, we pay lip service to essential workers. There's probably no worse phrase to be called than an essential worker, because what that probably means is if they call you essential, they're underpaying you and overutilizing you, and you're not getting the advantage.
Right. And by the way, let me add a little bit of drama here. During COVID, you died. That's what happened. Tens of thousands of these workers died, and after COVID was ended, you know, forget about them. So.
Oh, grocery workers, bus drivers. I remember there must have been 100 bus drivers.
You guys know that Donald Trump's administration right now, the total administration is worth like $400 billion. $400 billion, because Donald Trump's administration currently has the highest number of campaign donors, big bank lobbyists, and fraudsters in general. He has more than any American president in history. You know Donald Trump set that record in 2016 and he's breaking his own record. You know Donald Trump gave a job to Dick Cheney's advisors and he gave jobs to George Soros's advisors. Do you know anything about that? Do you want to look up the business ties behind all these people? I mean, I could do a stream someday about that, but I'm sure that billionaires voted for Kamala to raise their taxes. Of course, guys. Oh, we hit 700 subscribers, or not subscribers, but viewers. Thank you for joining. We are moody tonight. Not really moody, but I hit 10K subs tonight. Please drop a like and subscribe. I'm glad to have y'all here hanging out. Appreciate all of you.
That died of COVID, but it speaks to that idea that labor.
And since it's my 10,000 subscriber birthday, I'm allowed to. It's not really my birthday, but my 10,000 subscriber day. I'm allowed to yell at people. I'm allowed to yell today.
Has been
Thank
value,
you, Kyle.
and I think what you're talking.
Remember, channel memberships start at $2.99 per month. You could recommend emojis, custom emojis, if you get the channel membership. And also, if you're a channel member, your name shows up as green in the chat, so I could read it easier. And channel members get the full VOD, the full stream after I'm done after I'm done streaming. You can see the full upload when I'm offline. I don't upload them publicly. I reserve that for channel members as well. Please consider supporting. Thank you.
Talking about is focusing on a bottom up, and I hate to call it Keynesian, but a bottom up approach to building a much
Keynesian. Keynesian. We got to talk about Keynesian economics, Raceland. I want to talk about Keynesian economics then.
Up, and I hate to call it Keynesian, but a bottom up approach to building a much sturdier society, a society that's less concerned about Zuckerberg's 50th billion, but more concerned about a family's first 1,000.
That's right.
And how we change that. But doesn't that speak to how does Washington get out of that bubble to understand the trap that most people are in? Childcare is too expensive. Then when the kid's finally old enough, education is too expensive. When you finally pay that off, your parents are older and you got to take care of them. How do we get them to
Keynesian economics or whatever? It still has free markets. It's still free markets. It's an approach to economic redistribution. There's still free markets in it, though. It's not socialism. That is a free market system. Like,
understand that?
Yeah, you're missing the point here, John. It's not a question of getting them. People think the members of Congress and the Senate are stupid. They're not. It's not a question of knowing or understanding. It's a question of who controls what goes on here. John, I give you an example. I won't mention any names here. I have been very critical, I don't know what your view is, of what Netanyahu has been doing in Gaza. Okay?
Brother?
Raceland's a socialist. I heard Raceland's a socialist. I heard it.
Of what Netanyahu has been doing in Gaza. Okay?
Brother? Preaching to the
okay.
I would say choir, but you and I both probably had to go to a synagogue, so I don't know what I'm preaching to the can.
Are you an economist? Yes, I can read graphs. Yeah, of course I can read graphs. What?
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I introduced legislation that would stop arms sales to Netanyahu. We got 19 votes, which observers thought was very significant.
Right.
Significant majority of people who consider themselves Democrats agree with us. I got 19 votes. Okay? The American people do not believe that we should be supporting a government that is starving children right now as we speak. But if you stand up, you're going to find that AIPAC and other billionaire-funded super PAC.
Someone said, how often do you hear Discount Destiny? I'm blocking you. If you say Discount Destiny, you're getting blocked. I'm just saying. I don't want anyone who's on the internet that much. If you're on the internet enough to call me Discount Destiny, then you're useless to me. You're like useless to my political movement. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You just gotta go. If you gotta go, you gotta go. You're too online. You're not even a real person. You're probably a robot.
Are going to go to war against you, putting huge amounts of money in a primary in your general election. So it's not a question of not understanding. There are many members of the Senate who will come to you privately and say, my God, what Netanyahu is doing is outrageous. I just can't vote because money is going to come and destroy my political career. So you got to get at the root of everything, not at everything, but a key part of this whole discussion, John, is money.
Why should entrepreneurs be forced to distribute their gains? Entrepreneurs should not, but mega corporations should. So for example, you can look up the economy in like 1890, the Gilded Age, until around 1907. Look up trust busting and Teddy Roosevelt and why we needed regulations on the food industry and what happened with what was the big industry? There were a couple of industries that were like really big at the time. There's what's the guy's name? Not really sure. You can look it up though. But there's a Gilded Age. There's a need for redistribution, and also, I don't care. You know what? You're right. We should cut taxes for the rich and raise taxes for the poor. I want to run on a hamster wheel for Elon Musk. I want all of us to be on a big hamster wheel for energy production to power AI. I want to power AI with my legs.
In politics, people cannot vote their conscience. They can't vote their intelligence when they know if they vote against the corporate world or the big money world, they're going to get defeated at the polls.
That I have to say, that's an incredibly dispiriting statement because it speaks to, it's not ignorance, it's
I'm an economist
and it's cynical.
No, that's not. But look, John, you're
typically okay. If you're going to call yourself an economist, you should probably have some type of research published and peer reviewed. I'd assume that's the standard, or at least be like well renowned in the field. Like if you're a market analyst, you should probably have a track record of doing market analysis, or if you're an economist, you should probably have some written work to describe like your abilities to interpret economic data and also your own, what's it called? your own ideas of what to your own economic prescriptions.
That's an incredibly dispiriting statement because it speaks to it's not ignorance, it's willful and it's cynical.
No. That's not will. But look, John, you're a politician. You're a United States senator. You're thinking about, you know, the issue. All right. You know the prescription drugs are too high. You want to vote with your constituents, but you know that if you take a bold step to take on the greed of the pharmaceutical industry, they're going to pour huge amounts of money and defeat you. All right. That's what you got to be thinking.
By the way, right now, Elon Musk is threatening members of government in America and abroad that if they go against Donald Trump or anything Donald Trump wants, then he's going to use his massive wealth to go after them. That should be illegal. That should definitely be illegal. And Raceland needs to agree with that. Raceland is, if I say Raceland, by the way, it's just code for normie conservative, Mitt Romney Democrat or whatever. But yeah, it's one of our mods that everyone hates. Liar, false, LOL, liar. Musk is poisonous, sure. But yeah, that should be illegal. Economic portfolio to show its value. I don't. Okay, but being in the stock market, I was kidding about Raceland. Being in the stock market and being good at predicting the market is not being an economist. Those are two different things. Managing an economic system, managing financial systems even, those are completely different things. Like, it's not even in the same world. I would not have an economist do my investments, and I would not have investors do my economy.
Thinking about. Now, so, you know, you can blame the politician there, but he said, yeah, well, I'm going to get beaten by somebody who do worse, right? The system is broken and corrupt, the political system.
Right.
And that's what we have to address.
Boy, that's a tough one. And it almost, you know, it almost makes you think you have to design a system that can function outside of that incentive.
And that's, again, we started this discussion talking about the rest of the world. You know, every country has this issue, and money always plays a role in politics, but it is much worse in the United States. Can we address it? We can. You know, you can move toward public funding of elections. You know, I can, you know, Maine, for example, the state of Maine keeps doing good work in this area. So it is not an issue that cannot be effectively addressed, but we got to focus on it and make it a major.
No entrepreneur gets to the point where they would be asked to redistribute their entire company or income. So like Amazon or like, so Jeff Bezos, for example, or the PayPal founders or whatever, let's say you build up Amazon to a certain level. And then you don't go into only books. Then you go into all consumer goods in general. Then you go into groceries. Then you somehow use your wealth from Amazon. You become a billionaire. You own more wealth than half of society. Now you become a defense contractor. Now you have a space company. Now you own critical internet infrastructure through satellites. Now you own autonomous vehicles. Now you own a brain chip company. So you have all of these different connections. I'll quote Kanye West, "No one man should have all that power. No one man should have all that power." Power.
A major issue of concern.
But think about the, you know, the sort of the directionality of it. I mean, I'm remembering the days of McCain-Feingold when, you know, they sort of struck this bargain and we're going to rein in campaign finance. And 2 years later, everything's blowing up and you've got the Koch brothers and Soros.
Oh, wait a second. I just realized Kanye West, when he made Power and he said no one man should have all that power, they may have been foreshadowing for Kanye West's anti-Semitism. He might have been starting back then. If you think about it, if you really think, the conspiracy theories are gonna start coming.
Soros, and everybody's okay with it as long as it's their billionaire. If it's our billionaire, it's fine. If it's their billionaire. And, you know, there was something I was talking about with somebody recently, which was maybe the way to deal with this is, I don't know that we'll ever be able to fully regulate the money on it, but maybe we can regulate the time. What if we just made the election cycles much smaller so that it's not a permanent campaign? And look, the Supreme Court has watered down any of our corruption statutes. I mean, unless you literally write on a piece of paper, I'm going to give you $1 million for this exact legislative outcome, it's considered business as usual. I mean, they've basically legitimized all corruption.
Look, if some...
Yeah, true. Was America prosperous in the last 4 years? Objectively, if we were in a competition, okay, if we were in a do good things competition, and we were in like a recover from COVID competition, how about that? So the entire world is in this competition, every country. The United States of America under Joe Biden, outperformed every other country in the world with post-COVID manufacturing, infrastructure, inflation, real wage growth. So like objectively, yes, America under Joe Biden was very successful in the past 4 years, according to every metric. And you could have challenges and still be the best. It's not easy to be the best, but you could still be the best and have issues. But we just recovered better than other countries did. And we actually had lower inflation in America than a lot of countries that spent less money. So we spent more money and had lower inflation, which kind of defeats the argument that spending that we did increased inflation after COVID. Supply chains and COVID in general. Supply chains and COVID in general caused our issues after COVID.
On a piece of paper, I'm going to give you $1 million for this exact legislative outcome. It's considered business as usual. I mean, they've basically legitimized all corruption.
Look, if somebody says to me, Bernie, I want you to vote for this bill, here's a $5 check. That's bribery. If somebody says, hey, Bernie, I'm willing to start a super PAC for you, put a $200 million into it, perfectly legal. That's absurd.
Right. And let me take you on a...
They printed $9 trillion to be the best to recover. True. That's objectively true. We had a better recovery. Inflation is through the roof. We had a better recovery from inflation as well. The citizens of the country are paying through the nice to live. America's standard of living post-COVID is better than 99.9% of countries in the world, other than countries that did more and that have more expensive like systems in the like European Union countries, Nordic countries, Canada. I don't know if Canada's doing good actually, but still, the U.S. objectively outperformed. You can laugh all you want, and you could say like, oh, why weren't the people feeling it? People still have issues. Business as usual. We just did better. We still did better. If you want to redistribute money from the rich to give it to the working and middle class, so you really feel differences, you should have elected Bernie Sanders or someone. You should not elect Donald Trump, who wants to cut taxes for the rich more. Oh my God! Make sure you follow this channel, like this video, and follow this channel, because all the information I'm giving you right now is going to be really important in the next 2 to 4 years, and I'm going to keep on doing this every night until I go insane. But you're going to need it, and I really want you here, and I want you to be a part of our communist revolution.
A little trip.
I want to comment on your length of campaigns. Again, it is no secret that in the UK, in Canada, and many other countries, the length of time of their campaigns is much, much less. And I think in one way or another, that's what we've got to do. The idea that, I mean, literally the 2026 campaign has already started. I mean, it never ends. It's perpetual. Your point is well taken. We've got to figure out that as well.
No, I didn't say communist revolution. I said common solutions. I did not say communist revolution. I said common solutions. Do not say communist revolution. I would never do that. I only do common solutions, which is just, it's good. It's like Christian nationalism. It's two good things.
It's the kind of thing that ultimately, when we really break it down, a lot of the things like what Musk and Ramaswamy are proposing.
Car insurance is up 300%. Okay. Wow. That's a big number. Jeez. You're paying a lot of money for car insurance. Wow. 300% is crazy. No one can afford a home. True. Housing. Okay. I love America. I love America. I love America. Housing is expensive, and only one candidate had a free market solution for increasing the housing supply, and it was not Donald Trump. Only one candidate had a free market solution to cut zoning regulations and to provide tax incentives for private builders, and that was Kamala Harris. But you did not care about Kamala's policies at all, or Trump's policies. You cared that Trump owned all the liberals. Trump owned the liberals, so you're happy. Your emotions feel good. I'm happy your emotions matter more than logic.
Boy, it's something I've wanted for years. I'm just not sure those are the guys that I wanted to do it, because maybe I don't trust their, I feel like they're too focused on woke or retribution or something along those lines, and will go in there. Is it Democrats' inability to reform those processes that has opened the opportunity for this more nihilistic approach?
Yo, that is 100% true. I keep saying this too. Allowing these avenues for corruption in the system, even if Democrats are less corrupt, it left the like Democrats not reforming the system left the door open for this to happen, for Elon Musk and Trump to happen. Democrats not standing on any business is what's allowing this to happen. Like 100%. Allowing any corruption allows all corruption. And even if you're going to say the norms will protect us, the norms, the civic decorum and norms only go so far. Like all Donald Trump had to do was say, I don't feel like following it. And he doesn't need to. He's just barreling through things because we needed actual things in place to prevent corruption. And that wasn't just norms. And we should have known that for a long time. Even Nixon with Watergate, like Nixon tried hiding the Watergate documents, but the attorney general at the time resigned instead of listening. He would not listen to Nixon. So even Nixon was only caught for Watergate because people decided that it was a personal decision someone made to not follow that corruption. But there was nothing like concrete in place to prevent that, to prevent Watergate from being hidden. But someone decided to stand up.
Yeah, Democrats are, in many cases, not all, defending a system which is broken, and people perceive that it is broken. And Trump says it is broken. Now, his remedies are going to make it even worse. And I think what I fear very much hasn't been discussed all that much. If I give you an example, the post office, the mandate of the post office is a very good mandate. It is to deliver mail to every house in America, no matter how rural it can be.
Oh, Bernie's gonna go in. We love the post office here, bro. We love Amtrak here. We love our publicly funded companies that give services to all Americans. I love them.
To every house in America, no matter how rural it can be. It's a money loser, but it's the right thing to do. You can privatize the post office tomorrow, make it more efficient, and yet you will lose the beauty of what the post office is supposed to be. The challenge that we face is, can you have a post office functioning in the year 2024, which is efficient, which serves the needs of its customers? I believe we can.
Efficiency isn't quality either. I'm sick of people talking about government efficiency like it's a good thing. Some things, in order to be good, don't need to be efficient. Like McDonald's is very efficient. The most efficient way to make food is the microwave and buying a frozen meal. That's unhealthy. Efficiency, it doesn't like, it's about using your resources in the best way possible. But if you want to use our resources in the best way possible, you would not have a private healthcare system. Like, it's that kind of stuff.
Which is efficient, which serves the needs of its
Amtrak not publicly funded
customers. I believe we can. I believe we can. And I'm fighting for that. What these other guys, I suspect, want to do is privatize, so they'll have even more power in the hands of the large corporate interests.
And that's the tough part. And that's why I always thought there should be, people always talk about a moonshot. We need a Manhattan Project. I always thought we needed a bureaucratic moonshot, where we streamline, because so many of government programs, and I know this from, doing some work through the VA, set up an ad.
Yeah, efficiency to a billionaire, especially like Elon Musk, efficiency can just be like letting working people die. Like for them, letting us die if we get sick is more efficient than actually caring for us. For people who view us as economic units, who they're just going to replace if we die. You got to read more existential literature. Everyone here would benefit from existential literature. You'll definitely be happy and optimistic after reading it.
Adversarial system to the people who are there to access these government programs, that the bureaucracy itself that is set up for whatever 3% of people they think might be trying to defraud it actually costs more money to set it up that way.
But it is two things, John. Number one, for a lot of the people, the ultimate goal here, using the VA as an example, is to privatize the VA. Let's not be naive here. If we can make government so incredibly dysfunctional that people say, Jesus, forget about it, right? Do you think if we expanded Medicare, just one example, if we expanded Medicare, which the American people want, to cover hearing, vision, and dental care, if we got rid of Medicare Advantage, because we're doing these things.
And that's privatized. For people who don't know, the Medicare Advantage is a privatized part of the system.
Which is eating away at traditional Medicare. So if you had an efficient Medicare system that covered all basic health care needs, it was run in an administratively effective way, which what would the people say? You'd say, hey, that's great.
I don't know if I have a whole video on why Dems lost. I've been doing streaming mostly, but I mean, I talk about it. My last video, my videos that I talk about other things in cover why Democrats lost. So like when I review a debate, I think I reviewed a couple debates between progressives talking about. Yeah, I literally have videos saying who will save the left. I have one called PewDiePie called Joe Rogan dumb, where I hit on some of those topics. I have hour-long debates with Trump supporters and Joel Stein supporters and Morning Joe reactions, Bill Maher blaming queers for Palestine for the Dems loss, where I reject that idea. I have a video where I say I predicted 2024 and the Democrats' identity crisis, where I debated destiny. I also did a video about the left not abandoning trans people and not needing to. Yeah, I had a lot of video. Oh, I had a video literally. This one's called "Love Him or Hate Him, Bernie is Right About Democrats." Let me explain. Like, yeah. Wait, I do have a video called "Election Aftermath: How Liberals and Progressives Push Forward." You're right, right? Why do you know more about my content than I do, Raceland? I forgot I had that video. It's funny. Oh yeah, defund the ACLU, by the way. Totally government funded. Elon Musk is a genius.
I want to use that to cover all the kids and everybody else. There are people here who that's their nightmare, that you have an efficient government, because ultimately they want virtually every part of American society, including public education, including healthcare, to be privatized. And they're moving rapidly in that direction, by the way.
How do you remove those barriers, Senator? Because let's take healthcare as an example, because I think it's a great one to think about. The system here, you can't really use the market system because it's not like you're going to comparison shop if you have a heart attack in a Starbucks and like they're going to drive you to where they drive you and you're going to have to pay whatever you're going to pay. But the ACA, which was set up to sort of bring more healthcare to people, which fundamentally you'd think, well, that's a great idea. But ultimately, it's kind of a government subsidy to private insurance companies.
Yes.
Exactly what it is. It's a Republican idea.
Right. What is the barrier from making a more efficient?
Notice how the Republican solution to getting people health care was subsidizing private companies. So using tax dollars to fund private companies and then letting private companies still exploit Americans. The right-wing solution was to go anti-worker, anti-American, to be pro-corporation, pro-big pharma, pro-big insurance. Not even pro-big pharma, but pro-big insurance. The right-wing solution that the Heritage Foundation made, which is Romney Care, which is very similar to Obamacare, pretty much the same thing, because Obama dropped the public option and there's no more mandate now. But yeah, the solution was to give subsidies instead. It's wild. Why not just have a single payer model? Why not just buy? Why are we trusting this insurance middleman when we could just be paying doctors directly and paying healthcare providers directly? Why is this middleman insurance company taking our money that we want to use for our healthcare and just using it for their own profits? How many people? Okay, I want to do a real poll in chat real quick. So make sure you drop a like and subscribe. First off, I'll make sure I smile for you. Show you I'm happy. I'm gonna do a poll in chat. What is your? Okay, the poll's gonna be okay, I can't spell. What is your opinion on the healthcare CEO getting bang, 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 flop? Never mind, I'm not gonna put that. Getting let's see, options. I don't care. I think it's I do care. I'm indifferent. And also not TOS response.
Change. Is it
And not TOS means not terms of service, as in I would not be able to say it on YouTube.
purely that these other companies object?
Look, I have ran for president 2 times on the need for a Medicare for all single payer program. Okay. It's what exists in Canada right now. Do they have their problem? Everybody has a problem. But understand that when we talk about healthcare, John, it's not only that 60,000 people a year die because they don't get to a doctor. It's not only that our life expectancy is lower than other countries. It's not only that working class people in this country live 7 or 8 years shorter lives than the rich. It's not only that we pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. You add all that together, guess what? We're paying twice as much per person for healthcare.
Kyle, that's a very interesting debate right there. But Bernie's going in right now.
Prescription drugs. You add all that together, guess what? We're paying twice as much per person for healthcare than the Canadians and people around the world.
Canadians and people around the world, baby. Twice as much.
Why is that? Well,
and we're covering less people.
What is the function of the healthcare system? Is it to provide quality
to make
care?
money?
Well, no. It is to make the drug companies and the insurance companies rich. In that sense, it is succeeding very, very well. And they will fight you to the death.
Yeah, they will.
Fight you to the death to give up that lucrative industry.
They won't give up.
So, you know, basically, I think what we should do is
do it for the people.
Make Medicare more efficient, expand it, and then gradually cover all of our people through a Medicare program.
Everywhere, baby.
Get rid of the profiteering, get rid of the billing, get rid of the complexity. My wife has a PhD. She goes crazy trying to figure out our healthcare bills, right? Arguing with the insurance companies, etc.
Right.
That's what you want to do. Can you do that? If you did that, John, getting back to our original discussion, you'd restore a lot of faith in democracy and government.
Well, that's the key issue, Senator, because I think right now the question is, how does government, if people trust corporate interests to deliver, how does government, if people trust
corporate interest to deliver this service more than they trust a government which they actually have a vote in, because we can't vote for corporate interests, why would we? How are we going to get people to trust?
I think right now the question is, how does government, if people trust corporate?
I think we should bring out the Oxycontin plush toy.
Restore a lot of faith.
Let's find them
in democracy and government.
Well, that's the key issue, Senator, because I think right now the question is, how does
this would be a good emote for the channel?
If people trust corporate interests to deliver services to them better than they do, the government has to find a way to be competitive. And the example again in healthcare, man, I remember when the Obama administration, when he was running for president, they set up a state-of-the-art digital team that, you know, got information and emails and everything and text message. I'd be taking a bath and it would somehow show up in the water. Give me money, you know, and it was state-of-the-art.
They would so with the opioid epidemic, they had this huge marketing campaign. Found a promotional Oxycontin teddy today from National Institutes of Health. The distribution to healthcare professionals of branded promotional items such as Oxycontin fishing hats, stuffed plush toys, and music compact discs. Music compact discs. Get in the swing with Oxycontin was unprecedented for a Schedule II opioid, according to the Drug Enforcement Administration. They really gave out plush toys, bro, for the opioid epidemic, bro. Oh, man. I love America. This is so American. This is what America's about. It's about making money, baby. It's about making money, about making profits for the shareholders.
And this same group designed a website that you couldn't log on to. So why is it when and it would somehow show up in the water, give me money, you know, and it was state-of-the-art. And this same group designed a website that you couldn't log on to. So why is it when they do it for campaigns and financing and fundraising, it works like a charm. And when they do it for the people, for healthcare, the thing's a disaster. What's the difference?
Well,
regulation?
No, I wouldn't use the word regulation.
Honestly, bro. Honestly. This is what I'm really about right here. This is what I need. This is 80 milligram. Oh, man. That's what I need right here, bro. I need one of these. I want to have it in my bed at night. I can wake up and see a smiling face at me. I think there's a his and hers version, too. If we're talking about the Oxycontin plushie toys. Where's the his and hers? Here you go. His and hers. Look at that. Get one for your girl. Or your boy. Or your they them. Look at this, man. they had us out here singing along to the Oxycontin swing, holding our Oxycontin plushies. with our Oxycontin fishing hats on, with the Oxycontin representatives?
It is what we need are people entering government who believe that it is important, are proud to say, I work for this agency, that agency, and this is what we're doing. And we're doing it in an efficient, cost-effective, quality way. We have beaten down government for so many years that it is hard even to attract those people into the bureaucracy.
But the bureaucracy, to be fair, is responsible for some of this. They layer in regular. I mean, it's when you talk about homelessness, really hard to build new housing. Josh Shapiro in Pennsylvania, there's a giant fire on 95. The road collapses. If you had gone through standard regulatory proceedings of the government, the damn thing would still be closed. He did it in 10 days because he said, screw it. I'm not going to do this the way we normally do.
True. Based Josh Shapiro, honestly. Josh Shapiro gets results. I know a lot of progressives don't like him, but he gets results, and he works in a bipartisan manner. I think he's a really strong candidate. I'm sorry. I don't love everything anyone says, but Josh Shapiro, actually might be good for the moment.
Lapses. If you had gone through standard regulatory proceedings of the government, the damn thing would still be closed. He did it in 10 days because he said, screw it. I'm not going to do this the way we normally do it.
Good. And we need more of that.
That kind of thinking.
If we wanted to solve homelessness in America today, we could easily solve homelessness. How many years have we been hearing about? Is anyone here that's old? That's older than me? Because I'm only 24. So, how many years have homeless vets been used as a talking point, and homeless people in general? And how much money would it take to actually solve homelessness? Just basic shelter. I guarantee you we can easily get it done if we really had the political will to do it. There's no reason we should be talking about homeless vets for 50 years and never doing anything about it. Yeah, your whole life. Exactly. We could easily, since Vietnam, Vietnam was a big turning point for those conversations because, they would use vets as political pawns then after Vietnam. They still do. But yeah, we could easily fix that issue. Easily. It's not a hard issue to fix. We just literally need to pass the funding for it. We need the funding. And that funding is not that exuberant. It's something we can easily fix if people actually wanted to.
What the right wing will do is say, we don't need all these regulations.
Homelessness
and
in
therefore
general.
We don't have to worry about the environment. We don't have to worry about bigotry and racism. I don't believe in that. But it shouldn't take you 28 years to make sure that a project is environmentally sound, for example. So you're right. They can use that but I want to get back to this point. Give you an example. I read something which to me was surprising and a bit shocking. Question to you. You are a PhD candidate.
Someone said, go try it then, guy? Huh? What?
Oh, we're already off the rails, Senator.
All right.
We're already off the rails.
In a major university in physics or mathematics, okay? You're working on your PhD. Where are you going to go when you get that PhD? What are you going to do?
I'm assuming you're going to stay in the same building and teach the next people that are coming up with a PhD.
Yeah, that's what most people would think. But you know what? More and more of those folks in math and physics, they're going to Wall Street.
Oh.
They're using those skills for high-speed trading, to know how to manipulate the market, take advantage.
Bernie's going crazy right now. Do you know that 50% of Ivy League students, no matter what they go for, if you go to an Ivy, you're probably going into finance or consulting, regardless of your major. So all the high degrees in our society are going into financial manipulation fields or consulting, which is also a made up thing. They can go for literally anything. They might end up doing a job in consulting or finance, or it's kind of crazy.
Of the market takes a certain skill to do that. Again, it gets back to money being the end work of the Social Security.
Man, we hate our teachers in America. People hate all the wrong things in America. America's really disappointing sometimes. Man, I hate it. I can't stand it. The things we argue over is insane.
Administration, we're getting the benefits out on time. People are really excited and happy about it, proud of what I'm doing. I want to see that pride. And I don't want to see young people just going out saying, I got to make more and more money. That's what life is about.
But so much of that is about...
Aw, that's cute, though. That's true. It shouldn't be about making money. It shouldn't be about that. It's not about the money, money, money. You don't need the money, money, money. It's about the world. Don't care about the price tag. We don't need that. Wait, what's the words? Wait, let me find the words. We don't need the money, money. Jesse J. We just want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. Why is everyone so serious, acting so damn mysterious, got shades on your eyes and your heels so high that you can't even have a good time? Everyone look to their left. Everyone look to their right. Can you feel that? Yeah, we're paying with love tonight. It's not about the money. Money. We don't need your money. We just want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. It ain't about the cha-ching. It ain't about the, yeah, bling. We want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. We need to take it back in time when music made us all unite. And it wasn't low blows and video hoes. Am I the only one getting tired? Why is everyone so obsessed? Money can't buy us happiness. Can we all slow down and enjoy right now? Guarantee we'll be feeling all right. Everyone look to their left. To their left. Everyone look to the right. To the right. Can you feel that? Yeah. We're paying with love tonight. It's not about the money. Money. We don't need your money. We just want to make the world dance. Well, keep the price tag. Yeah, and take the cash back. Just give me 6 strings. 6 strings and a half stack. And you can keep the cars. Leave me in the garage. And all I need are my keys and guitars. And guess what? In 30 seconds, I'm leaving to Mars. Yeah, we leaping across these undefeatable odds. It's like this, man. You can't put a price on life. We do this for the love, so we fight and sacrifice every night. We ain't gonna stumble and fall. Never. Nah. Waiting to see this in the sign of defeat. So we gonna keep on making everyone move their feet. Bring back the beat. And then everyone sings. It's not about the money. Money. We don't need your money. We want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. It ain't about the cha-ching. It ain't about the bling. We want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag.
I don't want to see young people just going out saying, I got to make more and more money. That's what life is about.
But so much of that is about making work, not just the dignity of work, but the efficacy of work.
Hey, why did my viewership cut in half? Why did I go from 600 viewers to 250? What happened? What's going on here? Is the FBI, is the deep state coming for me? The CIA, FBI, deep state, the Trump, Elon Musk, who did this to my viewership? Someone needs to be held accountable. No other explanation can be had. I'm being suppressed and being censored for my freedom of speech. Shaking my head.
Have to have your labor rewarded with a life that is not so tenuous and on the edge of, paycheck to paycheck. And
you got
it. It's about changing. We've had 50 years where labor has been devalued and capital has been given free reign. And every time you bring that up, they always say, oh yeah, I guess, unions are the only answer. It can't be just that the workers are responsible for getting their own lobbyists to go up against corporate interests. They have to find a way to be allowed to tap into that revenue stream
Absolutely.
that is being generated.
All right, 2 things.
Yes.
Sean Fain is the head of the UAW. And in my view, he's doing a great job. And not only did he win a very good contract for his workers, he raised issues which are now resonating all over the country. And one of the issues he raised is, he said, you guys are making huge profits. You've made huge profits over the years. And meanwhile, many of my...
Oh, it's okay. We're back at 500 viewers. We're good. We're back at 500. Okay. Thank you guys for joining. Drop a like and subscribe. We had a little dip in viewership. I don't know why. We got a little goofy, but we're back at 500. We're all good. We're having a good time.
Workers. He had young people coming into the automobile factories making 17, 18 bucks an hour. CEOs making $25, $30 million a year. All right. And then he raised this question. He said, you know what? We want a 32-hour work week. That was part of his contract negotiations. And everyone said, Sean, you're crazy. What are you talking about, a 32-hour work week? And his point was, we are producing more product right now. And all of those gains are going to the people on top.
That's right.
I introduced the bill, John, for a 32-hour work week. I was shocked. I walked the streets. I'm in the airport, people coming over to me. And you know why? People are stressed out. They're seeing work in a very negative way. COVID maybe, exemplified that, what happened during COVID. So what we have got to be asking ourselves, and you're touching on it now, all right, you got all this new technology, artificial intelligence, robotics, making us more productive. Who's going to benefit from that? What are the repercussions of that? Are workers now going to have higher wages, shorter working hours, or the rich going to get richer?
That's the main question we should be asking when we have technological developments and advancements. When we advance the society with technology and whatever else and our tools, who's going to benefit? We should be working less hours, most likely, and we should be having higher wages and better standards of living. But what happens in neoliberalism, which is what Raceland likes, no, we're saying that if you work for 32 hours a week, then we would adjust the pay scale to match it for a full week of work, because your wages should go up if we're being more productive because of automation. But all the benefits of automation go to the top 1%. The workers don't see the benefit of automation. The rich do. But if
Senator, I'm going to tell you an anecdote. I think.
Yeah, exactly. They use government funding to educate people. They use government loans to educate people. They use government funding to fund research then with people. And then the people that pay for that research and the government and the people that do the research don't benefit from it. They don't profit. The people that profit are the slimy businessmen that manipulate the system.
I think you'll
I'm going to blow a gasket. Sorry that you're a neoliberal.
I was speaking with, and again, since we're not mentioning names here, one of the big muckety mucks of artificial intelligence and creating these new machine learning models and all those things. And he was telling me, you don't understand. These machines have already sucked up the entirety of human knowledge. They did that we passed that a few years ago. They're working on now going further than all that. And I said, in the way that globalization decimated our manufacturing base to the extent that we still haven't recovered and we've tried to make various changes.
Yeah, right.
Aren't you worried that AI, globalization was a change that took decades. Industrialization was a change that took decades, still incredibly disruptive, created a lot of collateral damage. AI is going to do that to white collar work and to all kinds of other things in the span of months. That's going to be cataclysmic. And he sat for a second. He goes, we'll be okay.
He will be okay.
We'll be okay.
He will be,
I was like,
he will be more than okay, but millions of workers will not be okay.
Yeah, it's really true. Are you finding common ground with the Senate? I have never been more frustrated than when I had to deal with the Senate through that, when we were going with the PACT Act and the Zadroga bill. One of the things that really struck me was all the arcane kinds of Robert's rules of order that are used against getting things done. It seems there's always a rule that can keep you. And I'll give you the example. We finally passed that PACT Act through the Senate, right? And we had, I think it was a 72-14. It was really, for this Congress, overwhelming.
Yeah, right.
The parliamentarian in the House flagged one provision in the PACT Act concerning the use of rural doctor's offices. Just in case there are people that live far from a VA hospital, the VA would take over these rural doctor's offices so that they could have, access. The parliamentarian ruled that violated the House of Representatives' ability to, you were levying a tax or you were doing something that wasn't allowed. We had to redo it in the House. When it went back to the Senate, it failed, having nothing to do with that little stupid bureaucratic little flag. And these people had to sleep on the steps of the Capitol to get this thing through in the Senate again. I was so dispirited by that.
Well,
that is crazy that when you think about the 9/11 first responders bill that Jon Stewart advocated for, Jon Stewart probably should run for president. I'm going to hop on the Kyle Kalinske train because I forgot Jon Stewart did that. But they wouldn't pass the burn pit. What was the bill exactly again? For those who had bad outcomes from 9/11, cancer, and a bunch of other issues. Republicans were blocking a bill to fund healthcare to support these people, the first responders, to 9/11. And Jon Stewart had a huge campaign where he spoke to Congress and he organized protests. But it's crazy that it took that much effort. And you would think Republicans are the party that always pretends to care about first responders and everything. But
Senate rules are something else. I mean, now you're touching
you get paid
on
for the
another
hours
hour.
you work. In his example, you want to get paid 40 hours for 32. You don't get paid for hours you work in every job. Some people are salaried, so it doesn't matter how many hours you actually work. You get paid just a weekly base pay. But if you work salary, it's a little bit different. But we should increase wages for those jobs regardless.
Senate rules are something else. I mean, now you're
No, that's true. That's true as well. They did abandon all the cops, all the Capitol Police on January 6th. They really don't care about. Thank you for liking and subscribing to the stream. We're getting a lot of subscriptions tonight. We started, yeah. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Really appreciate it.
well, Senate rules are something else. I mean, now you're touching on another hour discussion, which we don't have the time.
We'll do it next time.
All right, look, I can single-handedly go down there and slow up the whole institution. I can block legislation. Could be 99 to 1. I can slow it up. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. Then you're getting into the whole issue of the filibuster. I had a similar experience, not with the PACT Act, which I strongly supported, with minimum wage. I wanted to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, put it in the American Rescue Plan. The parliamentarian decided that it was not kosher to get in the bill, so we weren't able to put it in. Too much power to an unelected official.
Right. And even with the elected officials, I can remember, the Senate leader at the time was Schumer, and I said, we were coming up on that Christmas break or summer break, and I said, can we get this on the floor? I don't know, because then they'll be allowed to ask for an amendment, and if they do an amendment, each one is 2 hours, and they're just going to try and run out the clock on
All
us.
right, so you're touching on, and it takes 60 votes to pass anything.
Right.
There are ways around these things, and
that's my point. Ways around it.
Yeah, there are budget reconciliation. We passed. I know people are hard on the Biden administration, but they accomplished a lot.
Right.
And I want people to remember what happened in 21 in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, I think the point here as well, if you know a policy is popular, if you know a policy works, and, especially when we have these policies passing in red states, we should find a way to get it done. If Donald Trump can do unpopular things and try to overturn elections because he just feels like it, and if Donald Trump can just bypass rules whenever he wants, we should be able to bypass rules for good reasons. Like passing policies to help veterans, or passing policies to get more people health care. If Republicans are going to do I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. I feel like we're not really. The funny thing is, Raceland, and I thank you, Raceland and Sprig, for moderating tonight. But I've been asking, I think the past 3 days, I've had decent viewership, and I've been asking for people to talk to and have a conversation with, but no one ever comes on. So it's, no one's even joining the Discord. No one's even hopping on Discord now, even for a text conversation.
Biden administration, but they accomplished a lot.
Right.
And I want people to remember what happened in 21 in the middle of COVID. We passed the American Rescue Plan, which I helped write. It was a $1.9 trillion bill, which, remember, got those $1,400 checks into virtually every working class home in America, extended unemployment, saved childcare, small business, et cetera, et cetera. You could do that through what is called budget reconciliation.
Right.
It's a huge bill, requires 50 votes, not 60. But yeah.
Senator, I want to.
Now, budget reconciliation, Biden used it for the American Rescue Plan, but what might happen is there's a chance that Trump is going to use it to try and pass another tax cut for the ultra wealthy, which I'm really not happy about. But there's a good chance he does that, and they pass another big tax cut, lowering the corporate tax rate even more and putting the burden on working class people again. But it's whatever.
Bill requires 50 votes, not 60. But yeah.
Senator, I want to end on that. I want to end on the lesson, because you brought up the rescue plan and COVID. In 2008, in the financial crisis, the government decided to use its might to bail out AIG and the other big corporations, and they did it at the corporate level, and they did it at the supply side level, and we had a massive recession. People lost their homes. People were out of work. During COVID, the government decided to help people at the personal level. Surely that left an imprint.
Internet phone number
on the government to show.
If your company, wait. If your company becomes 50% automated, you need to pay your employees more. Well, no. In the Milton Friedman neoliberal framework, That's what the issue is. All the automation we've seen in the past 40 years, that wealth has gone to the top 1%. That's why we need a more redistributive system, to make sure all the winnings of this system that labor is powering actually benefits workers and not just the top 1%.
If you deliver for people in the moment, you have
actually scheduling certain things. I'm allergic to that. If you guys want to hop in, Raceland and Sprig, if you guys want to, this video's over in 5 minutes or 4 minutes. If you want to hop on and just chat, we can, or we could just have a little chat session if you guys want to. Can I see this chat, Risk Reigns? I check it every once in a while, but there's 6 viewers on the main stream, and the other stream has like 600. So
a better outcome.
Sean, I've given those lines in many, many speeches. And what I've said is, you think government can't do anything?
We have not been in a Keynesian economy. We have not been in that. The economic system is neoliberalism. It's neoliberalism. It's Ronald Reagan neoliberalism, because the shift in inequality started with Reagan. It began with Reagan. Obama was slightly more Keynesian in getting us out of the recession. A more demand side push. But supply side economics and letting the rich get all the benefits from automation and economic developments has been a neoliberal Ronald Reagan, Milton Friedman thing. Because if we did Keynesian economics, we would not see the major inequality we have right now. We just would not have it. So it's not true that we live in a Keynesian. I wish we did. Other countries do more so, but
I think, look what we did. That one bill, John, in a 3-year period, reduced, among many other things, childhood poverty by 40%. Got it? That was one.
So that one bill reduced childhood poverty by 40%, just like Social Security lowered poverty for our older adults. These government programs that are very targeted do a very good job at eliminating poverty. The free market does not eliminate poverty on that scale. The free market, so how I view it is, if you have markets, the markets can be very lucrative and they can produce a lot. But when you have a system that's producing a lot, you need to use those resources that are produced by the free market in order to recirculate it back through the economy in order to make the entire economy strong. So trickle-down economics, if you want to do trickle-down, it's not going to do it by itself. It'd be more like dumping the bucket a little bit. Instead of calling for overfilling the bucket and hoping it trickles down, you say we're going to have government programs that purposely and intentionally siphon some of that benefit back down to the working and lower class more effectively. And we do that. And that's been the gains in, getting rid of poverty and all that, or lowering poverty. That's why we've seen Prof 3 then. You usually agree too much to chat. Oh yeah. You're brainwashed. K to 12 should be paid for by the parents? No. Biden did do great policies. True.
One small provision in a larger bill. We saved the pensions for millions of workers. One small provision
Property taxes
in that bill.
Pay for some
when people were lining up for food, we got them $1,400 checks. When child care centers, small businesses were going. Was it a perfect bill? Obviously not. But your point.
Yeah, if we did trickle down, you would need people that have integrity, but we can't rely on people to have we need people who are not benefiting from something directly to make rules about it.
When there was a will, and Biden deserves credit for that, he was all there. When there is a will to do the right thing, we can do it. We can do it. Government can do it. But there has to be the will to stand up for working class people in this country. So,
Senator Sanders, an absolute pleasure talking to you, sir. I love your passion. I love how you've been out there raising this alarm for your entire public life, and I really do appreciate.
Well, and I appreciate, John, all that you're doing. We got a corporate media out there. That's a whole other issue. Doesn't talk about the most important issues. You do. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you, sir, and a pleasure to see you. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see you soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye.
Aw. Okay, maybe not Friedman, but the global economic system. Okay, it has more. The free trade expansion and the inequality, the aspects of our system that drive inequality came from Friedman influence and Hayek influence and Reaganomics. Not everything. It's not an exact model. And this is what I mean when I say you can sound like a communist, because you'll say like, oh, my system hasn't been actually tried, but neoliberalism and free trade being not regulated has been an issue. The only good opinions are a mixed economic system regardless. Well, yeah, but we need to do that because we have to regulate the boom and bust cycles. We can't just let the market completely crash and rebuild itself every 2 years. That aspect is Keynes, yes, but I'm saying we have a mixed economic system, but I'm saying the bad parts about our system are all freedmen. Because unregulated markets, if we have less regulation than we have now, always result in bad outcomes for the citizens. A typical centrist that believes in like the Bush tax, even the Bush tax policy would make more sense than what we have now. You Friedman hater. I think, who was worse, Friedman or Hayek? Wasn't Hayek Friedman was negative income tax, and then Hayek was UBI, right? I'm pretty sure that's what they both were. Milton Friedman is not based. If you think Friedman's based, then you have to think Karl Marx is based too. Why does Karl Marx have such a scary name? Like, why does he have to be like Marx? Like, I don't know. UBI is a failure. Yes, the thing that has never been tried is a failure. Good take. Thomas Sowell, also not based. Thomas Sowell is the worst out of all of them. He's actually a It'd be funny if it turned back on. Oh, it is. It does say it's back on. Can you still hear me? Wait a second. That's kind of funny. Does that mean my live streams are still functioning? Unable to connect. YouTube. Studio. Content. Live. That's funny. The live is still on. That's crazy. The CIA is coming at me tonight, dude. The CIA is going crazy. That's funny. I did not think that I didn't think they could just restart by themselves once the internet comes back on. But imagine if imagine if I didn't know that and you just and it turned back on and I was in just like a compromising position. Oh man. I'll have to keep that in mind. Yeah.
I want to thank Mr. Collins and Mr. Naylor for putting this together, but as I sit here today, I can't help but think what an incredible metaphor this room is for the entire process that getting health care and benefits for 9/11 first responders has come to. Behind me, a filled room of 9/11 first responders, and in front of me, a nearly empty Congress. Sick and dying, they brought themselves down here to speak to no one. It's shameful. It's an embarrassment to the country, and it is a stain on this institution. And you should be ashamed of yourselves for those that aren't here, but you won't be. Because accountability doesn't appear to be something that occurs in this chamber. We don't want to be here. Lou doesn't want to be here. None of these people want to be here. But they are, and they're not here for themselves. They're here to continue fighting for what's right. Lou's going to go back for his 69th chemo. The great Ray Pfeiffer would come down here, his body riddled with cancer and pain, where he couldn't walk. And the disrespect shown to him and to the other lobbyists on this bill is utterly unacceptable. You know, I used to get, I would be so angry at the latest injustice that's done to these men and women. And, you know, another business card thrown our way as a way of shooing us away, like children trick-or-treating, rather than the heroes that they are and will always be. Ray would say, calm down, Johnny, calm down. I got all the cards I need. And he would tap his pocket. Where he kept the prayer cards of 343 firefighters. The official FDNY response time to 9/11 was 5 seconds. 5 seconds. That's how long it took for FDNY, for NYPD, for Port Authority, for EMS to respond to an urgent need from the public.
Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, I don't even know what source I look at because I don't have a source. Like I don't have one place I go to for information. I Google the information. I find a source that's government or peer reviewed. So I just find information that has been through the proper channels to verify it, and maybe through reputable journalists. But I don't have like one source that I look at or like one go-to source.
5 seconds. Hundreds died in an instant. Thousands more poured in to continue to fight for their brothers and sisters. The breathing problem started almost immediately, and they were told they weren't sick, they were crazy. And then, as the illnesses got worse and things became more apparent, well, okay, you're sick, but it's not from the pile. And then, when the science became irrefutable, okay, it's the pile. But this is a New York issue. I don't know if we have the money. And I'm sorry if I sound angry and undiplomatic, but I'm angry. And you should be too, and they're all angry as well. And they have every justification to be that way. There is not a person here, there is not an empty chair on that stage that didn't tweet out, never forget the heroes of 9/11, never forget their bravery, never forget what they did, what they gave to this country. Well, here they are.
I'm telling you, this would be so effective. He has the ability to do this. I don't think he's going to run for president. I think liberals are too qualification based to let him run, but he would be so effective. This kind of appeal, calling out politicians for not serving their constituents and fake virtue signaling and being like, I'm actually supporting the vets. I'm actually supporting 9/11 first responders. I'm actually supporting our police. I'm actually supporting our teachers and our doctors and our, people that are in charge of helping other people. This attack line in general, this way to talk about these issues is so effective, and Democrats never lean into it. And part of it is because there is some hypocrisy on that side, so they can't. But this is the type of messaging. I know John's, and the thing is too, it's not that it's a focused thing. You know, he's not doing this on purpose for political reasons. He is genuinely mad about this and upset. You know, and I feel like we kind of need someone who actually is mad about these things and actually has principles, because they can't fake. Liberals just can't fake in politics that well. They seem like statues. But yeah, I don't know. This is just really good for emotional appeals, and I know he doesn't want to run, but someone like him. We need someone that has the ability. Like, some people just have it, some people just don't. Like, you have to. Some people just got game, you know. I don't know. Somehow Democrats pick the most anti-charismatic or uncharismatic people ever to run for politics. I just don't understand it. Wes Moore from Maryland, governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, he's kind of interesting as a 2028 candidate, I think. Military background, grew up really poor, worked his way through everything, and where he is now as governor, doing a really good job. I feel like Wes Moore, if I had to guess a field, Josh Shapiro, Wes Moore, AOC, Gavin Newsom. Those are 4 people I think that are going to be on there for president in 2028.
And where are they? And it would be one thing if their callous indifference and rank hypocrisy were benign, but it's not. Your indifference costs these men and women their most valuable commodity, time. It's the one thing they're running out of. This should be flipped. This hearing should be flipped. These men and women should be up on that stage, and Congress should be down here answering their questions as to why this is so damn hard and takes so damn long. And why, no matter what they get, something's always pulled back, and they got to come back.
Bro, that's such a hard line, dude. Congress should be down here, and they should be up there asking questions. That's such a good line, bro. They should be up there asking Congress questions. Like, why are no Democratic politicians, like, clever, bro? Like, oh, man. You would think that they're lawyers who basically go to acting school for politics, and they're bad at it. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance is, like, made in a lab, and he's, like, laser focused on lying and being good at lying. Like, why can't we just have these people on the Democrat? I guess, I don't know. There's a lot of different factors. We do have them, but many of them are blocked out from the party elites, as they say. Or not even the elites, but the establishment. We do have very, very good up-and-comers in the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party is so establishment-centric. Republicans are power-centric, so Republicans just want power, but Democrats kind of want power only their way a lot of the time.
Mr.
Bashir,
Johnson,
yeah,
you
Bashir will
made
probably
a
be on
point
it
earlier,
too.
and it was one
Bashir
that
will be.
we've heard over and over again in these halls, and I couldn't help but to answer to it, which was, you said, look, you know, you guys are obviously heroes, and 9/11 was a big deal, but, you know, we have a lot of stuff here to do.
Is that Johnson?
And, you know,
is that the same Johnson that's a... Wait. Is that the same one?
the 9/11 was a big but to answer to it, which was heard over and over again in these halls, and I couldn't help but to answer to it, which was, you said, look, you know, you guys are obviously heroes, and 9/11 was a big deal, but, you know, we have a lot of stuff here to do. And, you know, we got to make sure there's money for a variety of disasters, hurricanes and tornadoes. But this wasn't a hurricane. And this wasn't a tornado. And by the way, that's your job anyway. We can't fund these programs, you can. Setting aside that no American in this country should face financial ruin because of a health issue. Certainly 9/11 first responders shouldn't have to decide whether to live or to have a place to live. And the idea that you can only give them 5 more years of the VCF because you're not quite sure what's going to happen 5 years from now, well, I can tell you, I'm pretty sure what's going to happen 5 years from now. More of these men and women are going to get sick, and they are going to die. And I am awfully tired of hearing that it's a 9/11 New York issue. Al-Qaeda didn't shout death to Tribeca. They attacked America, and these men and women, and their response to it is what brought our country back. It's what gave a reeling nation a solid foundation to stand back upon, to remind us of...
Yeah, Sprig, my internet turned back on, and it automatically turned my stream back on, and I saw a message from Raceland in the chat, because my phone was still on, that my stream turned on automatically, and like I said, I'm lucky that I wasn't in a compromising position, because my camera just turned on. It just turned right back on, made me live again. Now we have 600 viewers still. But I'm in total react mode. I'm making spaghetti. I'm making spaghetti right now. So I'm going to be coming here and coming and going. So if you guys want to watch anything, let me know.
Of why this country is great, of why this country is worth fighting for. And these men and women, and their response to it, is what brought our country back. It's what gave a reeling nation a solid foundation to stand back upon, to remind us of why this country is great, of why this country is worth fighting for, and you are ignoring them. And you can end it tomorrow. Why this bill isn't unanimous consent and a standalone issue is beyond my comprehension. And I have yet to hear a reasonable explanation for why. It'll get stuck in some transportation bill or some appropriations bill and get sent over to the Senate, where a certain someone from the Senate will use it as a political football to get themselves maybe another new import tax on petroleum, because that's what happened to us in 2015. And we won't allow it to happen again. Thank God for people like John Field. Thank God for people like Ray Pfeiffer. Thank God for all of these people who will not let it happen. They responded in 5 seconds. They did their jobs with courage, grace, tenacity, humility. 18 years later, do yours.
Bro, I wish. Oh, man. It doesn't even need to be genuine. Like, as sad as it is to say, like, JD Vance totally hyped up his family story and uses his mom for political gain. It doesn't need to be genuine for it to be relatable to people and to sound very emotionally charged. And this is genuine, and I'd prefer it to be genuine. But Democrats need to know, like, they need to be narrative humpers or whatever you want to call it. Like, they need to fight for people in a performative way. Because people they're never going to look up the policies you do. Bro.
I've got to talk about the comedy stuff. What do you want?
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right, so you've heard of Kill Tony, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a lot of thoughts on the whole comedy sphere, and I think this is one of the big things that we need to change on the Democrat side.
Guess what? I'm going to listen to what I usually listen to, and you're going to listen to it with me as I make spaghetti, okay? Have fun. Have fun being me for a night. But this topic is about comedy and left and how the left needs to approach comedy moving forward. Does anyone eat salmon? I have a good teriyaki salmon recipe for the air fryer if you want it.
What do you want?
Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear.
All right. So you've heard of Kill Tony, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a lot of thoughts on the whole comedy sphere, and I think this is one of the big things that we need to change on the Democrat side if we want to win. For example, number one, we got to just bring back racism, like racist jokes on the left. And the reason I bring up Kill Tony is because, you saw the Puerto Rico.
Bro, we gotta bring back racism. It's crazy. We gotta bring back racism on the left is insane.
Comments he made at the Trump rally, right?
Yeah, the 50 million thing that was supposed to sink Trump's campaign. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it didn't do anything. So I listened to his podcast, the Kill Tony thing.
Mm-hmm.
He is like objectively really insufferable, but he's also fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And the way his show works is
I disagree. I really don't think Kill Tony's funny at all. The show Kill Tony's funny, but Tony Hinchcliffe, I really do not think he's funny. Yeah, he's not funny. He's not that funny. Sometimes a little bit, but I think he was funny when I was like 14, probably. Okay.
he brings on comedians, they do 1 minute, and then they chat, do racist jokes, whatever. They do jokes on everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the podcast, it's like objectively very diverse. Like you got black people, Asian people, disabled people, trans people, and they're all doing real comedy, and it's very, very funny. And then on this point, sorry, I'm a little out of breath.
You're good.
On this point, like you see, the reason we lost the
Well, I listen to content 24/7, so I mean, we could listen to the Harris campaign talk about their campaign failures. Here, I like this one. This one's more.
All right, guys,
entertaining.
welcome to the show. Welcome. I got a bold outfit going on today, man. I am
That is
curious what
bold.
your guys' thoughts are on my outfit. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Is it mid? Because I know it's sort of bold, but I can't lie. I sort of like it. So anyway, comment on that below. But I got a lot of stuff to get to today, so in just a second.
Do you guys know the fashion guy on Twitter? The guy that talks about menswear? He's like a menswear account that talks about fashion, and he just like owns people. Not fascism, but fashion.
We are going to talk about the real reason.
Yeah, go to bed. Go to bed.
Why Rogan went full MAGA. And this is according to Rogan, straight out of his mouth.
Good night.
And it is perhaps not the reason you're thinking. So we'll talk about that. We also have an interesting segment, which I think really explains the secret appeal of Trump.
No, because Kill Tony, like Tony Hinchcliffe does the thing where it's just like offensive. The gallows humor thing. Where you just say something to be offensive for the purpose of being offensive. Like Andrew Schulz does this too, and Joe Rogan does. They all do the same stuff, where they just say a political opinion, and then they're like, "Oh, bro, it's just comedy, bro, just offensive." Imagine a guy that thinks that thinks he's a girl, dude. Like the trans, like that's literally that's a lot of the jokes they say.
And why he ended up winning the election. Then we'll get to Trump's new crypto scam. We have Republican congressman slipped up and said the quiet part out loud and told everybody what their real plans are. And then later on, North Carolina Republicans just rigged the rules and went full authoritarian. And I got to give you the specifics on that. So without any further ado, we'll jump into it in just a second. You guys know the drill. Please subscribe to the channel. That helps out big time and costs you nothing. And of course, much love to everybody who supports this show on Patreon. Genuinely couldn't do it without you guys. So if you want to donate $2 a month or $5 a month or whatever, it helps. Remember, guys, we are real independent media. We are not fake independent media. I've never talked to a billionaire. I've never talked to a foreign government. I've never done any ad reads. I'm very proud of that fact. You guys help fund this show from the ground up, and I'm very, very thankful. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So,
I do gotta beg for money more. I'm pretty sure Kyle Kulinski's a millionaire. I gotta beg for money more. I gotta make some money. I gotta beg for donations 24/7. I started doing that a little bit. Very Don John. Comedy. Comedy's fake. Comedy's not real. I don't laugh. You can't laugh.
Rogan, on one of his recent podcasts, had a moment here where he explained what made him snap and go full MAGA. And as I already pointed out, it is not the thing you're thinking. All right, let's listen.
Well, I wanted to stay out of the presidential election shit.
Yeah,
it's
what happened?
gross. Because I feel like I had to. I feel like this is so nuts. This is so nuts. When that Tim Walz guy, That guy's, it's so nuts that guy was going to be the vice president.
Pretending to be
You're telling
head
me,
coach.
you're telling me this whole thing's fake then. You're telling me you don't care if someone's a liar. You don't care if they lied about their military rank, where they served. You don't care if they lie about being an assistant. You don't care if they lie about Tiananmen Square. There's too many things. This is so crazy. You would get fired if you were an assistant manager at a fucking oil changing company.
Yeah. The number one reason why he flipped and went full MAGA is Tim Walz. And he says because Tim Walz is such a horrible liar. My brother in Christ, you endorsed Donald Trump, who literally told, I believe the exact number is 30,573 lies his first term in office. There was a big Washington Post analysis done, and that's the number they came to. And let me be extra kind here, because I know what Rogan would say. Washington Post is basically fake news at this point. New York Times is basically fake news. They're all fake news. Okay, let's be kind and cut that number in half. Let's cut it in more than half. Let's say he just told 15,000 lies, and the other lies are all ones that, you know, it was a gray area, and they said it was a lie, but it couldn't be interpreted as not a lie or whatever. Okay, let's grant all that. 15,000 lies in 4 years, which likely makes him the most prolific liar ever in modern American politics. By the way, Trump lied directly to Joe's face, and Joe knew it, and he didn't care. He didn't care. He said to Joe's face, you know, when my rally crowds would say, lock her up, talking about Hillary, I said, whoa, hold on now. I said, whoa, hold on. So he pretended like lock her up wasn't one of his campaign slogans and wasn't something he said on a regular basis. We've showed the compilations. On this channel, we showed you the compilations of Trump repeatedly saying, lock her up, talking about Hillary Clinton. You think Rogan doesn't know that Trump said lock her up? He knows that. Another part he lied directly to his face, talking about the trying to overturn the last election, talking about election fraud, talking about how he thinks he won the 2020 election. And Rogan said, let me ask you about that. And by the way,
I'm happy I don't need to be here for the stream to have 500 viewers. Crazy world we live
hey, I'm
in.
going to give you space. Nobody lets you finish talking on this, so I'm going to back up and let you and give you the floor so that you can, make your whole case. And of course, he made the dumbest fucking case.
I should just like keep playing this all night and just keep getting subscribers. Just like never shut it off for real.
Imaginable. Of course, it was a lie that he won the 2020. Are you kidding me?
People were chanting lock him up at Kamala's rally. Yeah, in a response to him saying lock Democrats up for 8 years. Yeah, they were gonna say it out of spite because they were sick of constantly sticking up for Trump and Trump just like shitting all over him. Like, of course, passive income economy. Well, honestly, you know what? Massacre of the. Okay, you are such a loser. Okay, you look in the mirror and you get depressed about life, and I want you to be happier. Clean your room, work out, do something, okay? You're lurking on this stream. That's even worse, okay? Sorry people actually enjoy the community here and they enjoy each other because we have a good environment that's conducive to actually talking about real issues, and you're here just being a little crybaby. Yeah, maybe in response to like actual convictions, No, it's 90 plus, isn't it? But like, yeah. Trump tried locking up Hillary, but they couldn't find anything to lock her up onto.
Literally did an audit in the state of Arizona, and Biden won by...
Am I a long distance runner? I used to be. My best ever run, I ran the 800 meter at like a 2 flat, and I ran my best 14-mile run. My best 14-mile run, I ran it at a 650 mile pace. So 14 miles, 650 pace. I forget what that time is, but that's my best like peak shape that I've ever been in. I'm out of shape right now though.
By more than what we thought he won by on election day. Every one of their
Oh no. If you're cool, you don't gotta clean or work out. I'm not gonna clean or work out, by the way. I'm just saying that to them to be annoying.
Their cases crumbled.
Oh yeah, the bone conduction headphones. They're awesome, dude. The bone conduction headphones are my favorite thing I ever purchased. Like unironically, these are my favorite thing I ever purchased. Running with these ends is so freeing, and these ones are like the brand new ones that have actual bass in them. These headphones are fantastic, and using these for work calls too. They're really good on work calls. I love them. Definitely recommend. Yeah.
There was over 60 cases. Most of them didn't even have standing because it was so preposterous and so absurd. When Rudy Giuliani got in front of a judge to try to make the case the election it was a lie that he won the 2020. Are you kidding me? They literally did an audit in the state of Arizona, and Biden won by more than what we thought he won by on election day. Every one of their cases crumbled. There was over 60 cases. Most of them didn't even have standing because it was so preposterous and so absurd. When Rudy Giuliani got in front of a judge to try to make the case the election was fraudulent, he literally said, "We're not alleging fraud," because he knows they can't do it. The 2000 Mules documentary, which was the Dinesh D'Souza attempt to prove that the 2020 election was stolen, Dinesh D'Souza just had to come out and issue an apology and admit that his whole thing was fucking bullshit. This just happened the other day. Now, is Joe going to talk about this at any extended length? Remember when he came out after the election when Trump won and he was like, "Oh, it turns out voting works." Yeah, you don't say. So you're admitting Trump lied to your face, and that didn't change your view of him and your estimation of him. That didn't change your endorsement of him. Look, can we be honest here? The fact is, when Trump lies, he's a bull in a china.
Ross. I'm going to purposely use the wrong version of run. I'm going to say, like, I don't even know. I'm going to make up literary mistakes you never even heard of before.
In a shop. He doesn't stop. He will double down, he will triple down, he will quadruple down. And that makes it so a lot of people, like Joe Rogan, the vibe they get from Trump is, oh, he must mean it. He must think he's right because he's so aggressive and he's so obnoxious and he's so over the top and he's so sure of himself. So in other words, Donald Trump, by any standard, is 17 times the liar, more than that, than Tim Walz is. But Tim Walz, since Tim Walz is a bad liar, it's like, oh, well, I'm just going to label him as that and move on. I mean, this is astonishing stuff, man. This is truly, truly astonishing stuff. The neocon thing, right? Joe asked him, "Hey, did you make some mistakes in your first term by maybe picking the neocons when you shouldn't have?" And Trump was basically like, "Yeah, maybe, yeah, kind of." Then he went on within like, a month. He went on to pick like 7 new neocons. So it was another lie to your face. If it was a mistake, why did you go on to pick more of them? Trump, why'd you do that? And Joe's totally not curious about that. Didn't bring up again, oh, hey, wow, look, he's picking neocons again. That seems bad. Didn't do it. And by the way, even the fucking lies he directly points to about Tim Walz, this is way, way overstated. Oh, he lied about his rank. No, he didn't. He got the promotion, and then he said, "You know what? I'm gonna back out here." But the only reason he didn't achieve that rank officially is because he didn't fill out some.
Yeah, I do accept call-ins. Indeed. I gotta get a phone call set up. Salmon rocks. So the salmon recipe is just honey, teriyaki sauce, soy sauce, olive oil, and you chop it up. Red pepper flakes. Yeah, it's like salmon bites in the air fryer. It's really good. Did I say honey? Yeah, it's really simple. Simple, easy, quick. Air fryer, delicious.
Some fucking paperwork on the Tiananmen Square thing. Like, he was there like a couple weeks before or a month before, or it was like a couple weeks after or a month after. He was there right around the time when there were pro-democracy protests going on, but he wasn't there specifically for the event at Tiananmen Square. The idea that this is like a deal breaker, and then by the way, in the debate, he was asked about this, Tim Walz, and his answer was bad. You could tell he's a horrible liar. He's not used to lying. He's not comfortable when he does it. The very next question was to J.D. Vance about the 2020 election and whether or not he would admit that Trump lost it. And J.D. Vance didn't admit it, and he dodged the question. And he said some bullshit about like censorship on Facebook. And Rogan gave him credit for that answer, thinking it was a good answer. There's a fucking pure brazen liar right in front of your face, Joe, and you didn't even hold it against him. So apparently, to get Joe Rogan support, you have to be a bigger liar and a bolder liar, and you have to double down, triple down, and quadruple down, and never admit fault ever. And then because you have...
No, unironically, yes, you need to be a better liar to win in politics. Republicans are better at lying. That's one of the reasons they win. One of the main reasons.
The vibe of confidence, he'll go, oh, this is a serious person who I like and who I should endorse. See, this is what I mean when I say he does politics.
It's actually crazy because Trump actually isn't, like, he never won this election. It was stolen. So there's only 2 terms you could be president. Trump won in 2016 and 2020, and he cannot be president again in 2024. That's the third term. So he's already violating the Constitution, like just like Trump always does.
Politics by vibes. Because remember, guys, here are the politics that Joe Rogan says he has from his own mouth. Listen to this. You've heard this before, but this is super important. Listen to the things he says he believes in, what his values are, and what his policy preferences are. And then I'm going to tell you a thing or two about Tim Walz.
I really believe if Michelle Obama runs,
she might
she
win.
wins.
She's good.
She's great. She's
Right.
the wife of the best president that we have had in our lifetime. I've never voted right wing in my life. I consider universal basic income a really good idea. I want free college education.
Take it easy.
Hello, Bernie.
How are you, Joe?
Wonderful. Pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I like Tulsi and I like Bernie. That's it.
Oh, yeah?
Everybody else can eat shit.
Look at you, fucking progressive.
Yeah. I think I'll probably vote for Bernie. I think he's looking out for the interests of the working people. And I think he wants people to have a better life and do better. And I'm all for that. And if that means I have to pay more in tax, like people think, oh, you're a socialist. I've heard people say that. Oh, you're a fucking socialist, bro. Like, first of all, he's not even a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. It's a different thing. I would like to spend more in taxes if they could fix inner city communities and take these poor neighborhoods and throw a fuckload of spend more, you fucking Republican piece of shit. 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights.
Wait, who said he's done with politics? Look up the emails between Hillary and Podesta referring to them eating cheese pizza. Bro. Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. The video does make me sad too.
I'm even using global warming. Oh, you fucking Republican.
Even just thinking about where I was in life when Joe Rogan was a normal person, I get nostalgia thinking about my own condition. Like, wow, I was really happy back then.
The problem is 87% of scientists said that human activity is driving global warming. I'm very pro-choice. I'm very women's rights, civil rights, gay rights, trans rights. I'm even universal health care. Obviously, this protected status is driving me crazy. This thing that Trump's doing with children that were born in other countries and then brought over here as children, and then they're talking about deporting them. That drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's
that kind of shit. And the hard right version of that is despicable. These people that I see online, why didn't they apply for citizenship? Oh, who knows? Maybe because they're fucking 13. I don't give a fuck if they broke the law. You don't take parents and kids and separate them. You just fucking don't. You know Alonzo?
No, I was
a funny comedian. Yeah. He goes, not all Donald Trump supporters are racist, but all racists are Donald Trump supporters.
He definitely awakened that side.
But the January 6th thing is important.
See, it is important,
And
but is it the 6 months later? Should be the ruling number one conversation of
I think
journalists?
it's really important. And one of the reasons why I think it's important because it highlights the reasons why a guy like Donald Trump is so fucking dangerous. Is because a guy can incite a bunch of morons to do something really fucking stupid. As far as trans people, some trans people listening to this, I got nothing but love for you. For everybody. And in fact, Eddie Izzard is one of my all-time favorite guests.
Oh, I love Izzard.
The right-wing thing is just an easy way to dismiss me, because I'm not right-wing.
So from his own mouth, he believes in the philosophy and the ideology and the policies of Bernie Sanders. Well, guess what, Joe? Tim Walz is Bernie Sanders as a governor. So put aside all the bullshit and all the right-wing nonsense you've been fed about who Tim Walz is and what he stands for. Here's what he actually accomplished with a one-seat majority.
Okay, that's not true either. I understand Tim Walz got a lot done, but Tim Walz is definitely a liberal. He's not a democratic socialist. Tim Walz is not the Bernie Sanders of Minnesota. Tim Walz is very good. He's a great public servant. The fact he changed his position so many times, based off of actual feedback, is really awesome. Like genuinely. But part of the issue is, progressives look at Tim Walz and say he's like a progressive hero. Tim Walz was like very pro-Israel. Tim Walz was very conservative at one point. He just listened to his voters. He's a really good liberal, but he's not Bernie Sanders. Like, it just, I don't know. It's not the same thing. But I mean, he still has that populist appeal in terms of like seeming like a normal person, I guess.
Party in the state of Minnesota as the governor.
No free speech in this chat.
Universal free school breakfast and lunch for kids. Legal weed. Something you care about. Carbon-free electricity by the year 2040. Tax rebates for the working class up to $1,300. 12 weeks paid family leave. 12 weeks paid sick leave. He banned gay conversion therapy because it's fake. It's a fraud. He did red flag laws for guns. So if somebody's having a mental breakdown and saying they're going to shoot up the school, you could take their guns from them before they shoot up the school. He did universal background checks for guns, automatic voter registration, free public college, which is something you said directly that you support. He did it for people who make $80,000 a year or less. He banned the PFAs, the PFAS, the forever chemicals, which I know is something you support because you love RFK, and that's something RFK has said that he cares about. He did a $2.2 billion increase in school funding for kindergarten to 12th grade. He did sectoral bargaining for nursing home workers, which raises their pay. And then when you look at his time in Congress, he opposed the Wall Street bailouts. Rogan agrees with that. He voted against outsourcing deals. Rogan agrees with that. He codified Roe versus Wade. Rogan agrees with that. The Roe v. Wade thing, was as governor. As governor, he did right to repair. In Congress, he had a 100% rating from Planned Parenthood. He banned non-compete clauses. He raised the minimum wage for small businesses, raised taxes on multinational corporations, protected gender-affirming care, banned medical providers from withholding care over debt, protected construction workers from wage theft, did a massive Minnesota infrastructure bill. He opposed the Iraq war. He fought neocons twice when they tried to bomb Syria, and he opposed sending weapons to Saudi Arabia. This guy's record is as close to Bernie Sanders as any other politician in the country is going to get. And he actually did a lot of those things directly in Minnesota. He got them through with a 1-seat majority. So
I mean, I just want Kyle Kalinske to be able to say a liberal is good. Like, you don't need to be a raging progressive to get a lot of good stuff done. And a lot of those policies, like Josh Shapiro has also gotten done, but they hate Josh Shapiro very much. Which, I mean, you could have reasons to not like anyone, but... Kyle isn't great, no offense, just Ben Shapiro for leftists. YouTube chat is very shadow bandish. There's a live chat and there's a top chat. Top chat picks the most, like, they sort out messages that are the most important, but live chat shows every message. So if you only see certain things, it's because you're probably on top chat and not live chat. So I have to go on live chat to actually see everyone's message, typically.
You, according to your own
Kyle's new
words,
look.
you should love Tim Walz. Now, why does he actually not love Tim Walz? Why does he actually not love Tim Walz? Because we already established it's not the lie thing. Because Trump told a gazillion more lies and way worse lies and never admitted it, doubled down. He's been a joke on that front. J.D. Vance, same goddamn thing. So it's not the lies. So what is it? I'll tell you what it is. Rogan is in the right-wing ecosystem. Rogan heard the arguments about, oh, Tim Walz put tampons in the boys' bathrooms. That is a complete and utter lie. That is total bullshit. That is not at all what that policy said. It's nonsense. But he believed it. Also, he believed the lie that, Tim Walz was locking people up for violating COVID rules is the other thing that the right was running with. This idea, you have a hotline to snitch on your neighbors. Okay.
I'm ending this. I'm gonna end this stream/chat when this video's over. Eat my spaghetti and go to bed. Thank you all for joining me. At 10,000 subscribers and 200. 10,200 subscribers. 10,200. Woohoo. What a great night. My celebration for 10K.
What came of that? What came of that? Nothing. Nobody got locked up because they were going around COVID rules. This is utter nonsense. And by the way, COVID's such a big thing for
To be honest, Joe Rogan probably switched because he's best friends with Dana White, whatever, with the UFC. There's some really close money connections and corruption between Russia and the UFC and a bunch of different Saudi Arabia, I believe, as well. There's a lot of money ties to Joe Rogan's friend group that just happens to lead back to Joe Rogan inviting Russian propagandists on his podcast. Thank you. Thank you for the congrats.
Rogan, who gave us the vaccine? Who did Operation Warp Speed? The guy you endorsed, Donald Trump. Who presided over the lockdowns? Donald Trump. Who castigated and berated the governor of Georgia when the Republican governor of Georgia wanted to open up his state early on during COVID? Trump said, don't you dare open it up. You better stay locked down. So in other words, the shit he says makes absolutely no sense. And if you think Tim Walz is a bigger liar than Donald Trump, you have the IQ of a mosquito. You do. Because again, the reality is at the end of the day, he's in that right-wing echo chamber, and he's vibes-based. He's vibes-based. And so he likes Trump's vibes. He just does, right? And now he's buddy-buddy with Trump. He's buddy-buddy with Don Jr. in the same podcast. They giggle about Don Jr. liked my tweet. This is embarrassing.
I'm really surprised Kyle Kalinske, because Kyle used to talk about Joe as a friend, and now Kyle talks about him as if he never knew him. Like he just called him stupid. Like Kyle Kalinske usually doesn't call people dumb, like Rogan at least. But Kyle was really just coming out and saying, Rogan, you are dumb if you believe this, which is actually kind of a big change from how Kyle usually is.
This is absolutely embarrassing shit. It's so ironic, isn't it, that the reason why I actually got excited about the Kamala campaign, namely picking...
Bernie isn't independent now. Bernie was always an independent, but Bernie is far left. Tulsi's an opportunist. Tulsi endorsed Bernie, Biden, and then Trump. She's just looking for whoever she can get power from. She tried running for DNC chair at one point and couldn't get it, and she switched up after that too. Bernie Sanders is far left progressive. Rogan just likes the vibes of populism because Tulsi, Trump, and Bernie are all populist in the way they speak. So that's what Rogan responds to. People that are uninformed about politics are very attracted to populist language.
Tim Walz is the reason why he was like, no, I'm going to endorse Trump. And who do you think has more knowledge about Tim Walz? Who do you think knows the policies and the reality of Tim Walz? Well, I just told you his entire record. Did he know any of those things? Literally any of those things. Any of those things. Did Rogan hear any of the awesome, tremendous policies that Tim Walz did? No, he didn't. He heard some bullshit about, locking people up over COVID rules and tampons in the boys' bathroom. And, bro, he said he was in Tiananmen Square during the thing, but he was there like a couple weeks before, bro. He said he achieved a higher rank in the military, but he didn't. He actually was promoted to that, then didn't fill out the paperwork. So technically, he didn't actually get that rank, bro. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Anyway, TFG, bro. Joe, you are just a Republican now. That's it. You're just a Republican. You're Sean Hannity. You're Ben Shapiro. There's no difference. There's no difference. This is what you've become. This is what you've become. It is what it is. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like it.
All right. Thank you guys for hanging out again. Again, appreciate all the support. Catch y'all tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, right? Should catch you tomorrow around 10 p.m. Actually, since it's Friday, probably 11 Eastern time again. If you have any content recommendations, drop it in the Discord. If you want to have any conversations, feel free to DM me to schedule them ahead of time. Any debates or just general discussions, send me a discussion topic and a proposal. We could talk about it. But thank you all, everyone. Make sure you drop a like and subscribe. Have a good night. Talk to you guys tomorrow. You're in the wrong chat. Wow. Wow. All right. By the way, if anyone's curious, if I have like 500 or 600, 700 viewers on a shorts stream with 100,000 views, I get paid like $3 for 100,000 views. If you're curious what the pay rate is, 100,000 views, $3. It's kind of crazy, but yeah.